And welcome into the Thursday edition of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Remember, FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Fresh off a very successful fantasy football draft last night at Mill Creek Brewing in Nolensville. What a time it was, Joe Rexrode.
It was great. It was great. My home bar, it was like home bar advantage for I guess for me and for Brennan,
Brennan
who shows up on his own, at the bar. But awesome. Yeah, tried to talk trash, got your wrong. Drafted kind of a crappy team, but I thought we had a great draft. Everybody was having fun, We only broke one glass, so that was successful.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good. I feel good about my team. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Well,
I haven't scouted everybody yet.
There's a heck of a showdown. Week 1. Robby Stanley, Michelle Knezovic. It's getting real. Week 1.
Robby, come on. We both know who's going to win.
The commish.
The commish is projected to win at the moment, by the way.
Is that right?
That is true.
Okay, I got to go to the site.
See what happens on that front. As we know, projections, they mean everything in fantasy football.
Absolutely everything.
That's right.
You're right, Robby.
And thanks for the name suggestions, everybody. I did like Jared's daddy. Was that one of them?
Stillman's daddy.
Stillman's daddy.
Stillman's daddy.
I mean, that's appropriate, accurate, but not like literally accurate. But I went with Nolensville Nigel Tufnell. So this is one thing that's a big movement in my life is that everyone must watch the movie This Is Spinal Tap, and your life will be better if you do. So. Nolensville Nigel Tufnell.
It's on the list.
Yeah, good.
The list that we don't actually have, but we just refer to it all the time.
Got a running list.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm actually going to start actually doing that, I swear.
That would be
so,
good.
Derrick Henry on this team.
You did. You ended up now.
How much of the listeners today, did the listeners want 4 hours of breakdown of our draft?
Just of your draft?
Yeah, well, we can talk about some of the other teams too, I guess.
The fact that we have not brought this up yet is hilarious, but you had your Rex rant on Monday about the auto draft and trying to be sabotaged and all this stuff. And then we sit down yesterday and you get there right before the draft and you come back to your seat and there's no internet to be found. And with about, I would say, 3 seconds left on your clock, you draft Derrick Henry when I think it was going to select Saquon Barkley for you if you didn't do it. So good save by you.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I mean, the Wi-Fi connected. I've been in there many times with my laptop, so it auto connects, right? And it was fine. It was good. So why did it disconnect? Is this another conspiracy? There's certainly a conspiracy against me in the Titans Media League that I'm the champion.
I'm starting to think maybe it's operator error. It could be. Could be what happened.
But you saw it. I mean, I just walked away.
Just saying.
That was a good save. So I think Brennan got relegated to Saquon, right?
He did. Voluntarily chose him.
Yeah. But he
was eighth overall.
No, that's actually not bad to get him there. Yeah. 8th pick. Yeah. So I haven't scouted all the teams, but yeah, everybody there was great. We had a nice lively crew. We had a lively crew on Zoom too. Yeah. I got a little dizzy. Blair Witch Project type stuff going on. Was it Christopher walking around his house? But yeah, it was good. And Mill Creek Brewing, great place. We appreciate it. Great burger, smash burger.
I got the pretzel bites. Very solid. Very good.
We appreciate them having us last night.
Yeah, they roped off the little area for us. That was nice.
Joe's a VIP there.
Yeah. Well, I spent a couple bucks there, I'll tell you that. Well worth it. I'm just saying, they know me there.
It's Joe.
Well, I mean, the fields.
You in for your shift today?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the athletic fields are right kind of next to it. If you walk through the trees of the parking lot, you walk to all the baseball and flag football where Brendan played Little League football. So it's okay, after the game, let's walk over here. I mean, it's right there for you. So in lovely Nolensville, Tennessee.
That's right. Shout out to Nolensville last night. I think we've decided that if a listener wins the Fantasy Football League, because we've gotten a lot of questions about the Fantasy Football League, had some people upset yesterday on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com that they were not in the Fantasy Football League. this is going to be an annual staple here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll continue to do the Fantasy Football League, but I believe we have come to the decision that if a listener wins the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League next year or this year, that they'll automatically be back next year with a chance to try and defend their title. If a listener does not win, if one of us win, or God forbid if Brennan wins, no listeners back in the league next year. Ineligible.
Yeah, it'll be. Oh, okay. So,
I shouldn't say ineligible. You'll have a shot to win again.
Okay, so they're not ruled out for next year.
They're not ruled
out.
out.
They're just not in for sure.
That's correct.
That's a good rule. So you win a spot among whatever else the other things that we put together for the winner.
That's a great prize. I mean, this is an elite league, guys.
This is going to be an elite league.
Honestly, like it was a good draft. Like I thought that was good drafting. I mean, maybe, a few weird ones here or there. But hey, I mean, that's okay.
Somebody has two QB or two. Who has Mahomes and
Herbert?
Yeah.
I think Christopher had Mahomes and Herbert.
And how high did he get Herbert?
Like
It was
4th?
pretty high. I don't know if it was 4th, but it was maybe 5th or 6th.
Now, if it was Taysom Hill,
Yeah.
you put him at the pick in every draft is draft Taysom Hill.
You did get your other guy.
I got Rondale Moore
Rondale
both
Moore.
leagues. Rondale Moore both leagues. Thank you.
I think Tim got hot fickin' chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, good job, Tim. Good job.
How
Tim.
excited are you to see Rondale Moore in person coming up on Sunday when the Tennessee Titans host the Arizona Cardinals? This is a big day for you.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm projecting him as I think Elijah Moore is also going to be great.
Yes.
The rookie Moore is in the league, but I'm a big Rondale Moore believer, and the college game does not always translate because I'm also I still think KJ Hamler is like the next Tyreek Hill, and so far I haven't seen much from him. I know he's been hurt most of his career, so I'm not always right, but I feel like Rondale Moore, if he can stay healthy, he's gonna be a problem for people. He's gonna be out there Sunday, and that's a really fun matchup if it's Molden against Moore.
Yeah, I would say so. Would you like to take your victory lap today? I was listening on my way down to this fantasy draft yesterday to your segment against Jared, and we'll get to some topics of the segment against Jared yesterday coming up a little bit, but Caroline deemed you yesterday the winner in the Joe versus Jared weekly showdown that's now on Stillman and Company.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Caroline. She's in a tough spot because she can't every week have me win, even though it's going to be a landslide every week, right? Like it's not.
It's not good radio if you win every time, right?
Well, yeah,
and
she's got to deal with Jared whining, So I mean,
which he did after that.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, some of his takes. What's funny is he got upset that I agreed with him a couple times, which is just, I mean, it's a perfect example of the problem with Jared. So I think I should just go first every time because no matter what I say, he'll find some reason. No, that's not right.
That was a good job.
Thank you. I'm Jared. But yeah, it was I mean, we'll talk about the Vanderbilt stuff. It's like, dude, and I know Caroline kept trying to talk sense into him afterward, but yeah, it was fun. It's fun. I'm for it.
You didn't get to really yelling at each other quite as badly as week one.
Well, yeah, because week one, he's basically saying Greg Schiano was Urban Meyer, and it's just like, dude, you just got done saying PJ Fleck hasn't earned any, It's like just because you are quote unquote arguing something, you should not lose all reason to make your point, to try to win the argument. You got to stay within the confines of reality, or so I would say. But hey, dude,
not everybody takes that approach, man.
You do you, Jared.
Not everybody takes that approach.
No, clearly.
You ever watch First Take on ESPN? Not everybody takes that approach.
Not a lot.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
But I mean, I have.
Shout out to First Take.
I have seen it.
Sure, there are people out there that enjoy it.
Well, clearly there are.
Clearly they are.
Sometimes, I mean, I've seen it where I think it's a good discussion argument.
Yeah.
And other times when it's not.
So fantasy football drafts at this point, I would hope, are done. Does anybody draft today at 3 o'clock.
I've never heard of that.
They bring it right down to the wire before the game kicks off.
Like they wait till the 3 o'clock injury report comes out.
They're just waiting until
the very last injury
the
report.
very last second.
I mean, I guess people who like don't have jobs and stuff, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a heck of a strategy.
Yeah, a young.
You got Tampa Bay and Dallas kicking off tonight. You wait until an hour before game time to finish your draft.
Like some retirees, maybe.
Maybe so.
Early bird dinner, fantasy football draft.
Yeah.
Stay up till halftime of the game. Tape the rest.
What do you think of the matchup tonight, Tampa and Dallas? Are you looking forward to watching this game?
I am. Yeah. No, I'm very much looking forward to it. Not just because I got CeeDee Lamb.
And Tom Brady, your guy.
Yeah, your boy.
Well,
Brady.
of course, get to watch the GOAT. But yeah, I am interested to see if Dallas can make it a game. That would be fun if Dallas could make it a game. I think Dallas offensively could have success tonight, and I just like Dallas' defense. I don't know. No, I'm in. I mean, there could be better matchups. There are some other games on the schedule this week that like I would have preferred to be the Kansas City Cleveland tonight. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
But you can't have you can't have the Chiefs like every single primetime game. I get that. And it's the defending champs. There's some other game. I mean, actually I think that the Titans Cards is a sneaky underrated game. Steelers Bills, we've talked about that, and the fans. And by the way, who was it? See, I'm so bad with names.
So many Buffalo fans.
Well, so one of our league members, and I'm so bad with names and I apologize, but he sat right next to me.
It was Dennis.
It was Dennis.
Yeah.
He's worked security, and he said that the Steelers fans were the worst.
Yes.
He said Steelers fans were the worst.
You'll get a lot of votes around here for the Steelers fans being the worst.
Well, you know what? I saw TD yesterday, and he said, you know what, Michelle? I agree with you. He said, I hate Bills fans.
There you go.
So, to each their own.
We're starting this is a thing.
Bills Mafia is going to show up outside the studio.
At some point, they're going to they're going to get the @1025 Twitter account, and then they're just going to dox everybody.
For the record, though, I like buffalo wings. Robby, you have started something that everyone thinks I hate chicken wings now.
Truth doesn't matter.
I hate those buffalo wings.
I mean, I think most people probably like buffalo wings. Would be my guess.
Yeah,
I'm sure some don't.
You can hate a fan base and still appreciate their cuisine.
That's right. Adam Schefter pointing out on Twitter that Tom Brady will start his NFL record 300th regular season game tonight. So career game in the regular season, number 300. I'd be interested to see how many playoff games he's played because it's probably close to 80, 85. He's played a lot of playoff games, man.
That's a good point. Pretty amazing, man. Hey, if you get 16 hours of sleep and eat kale 3 times a day, you still can't do this. But that's got to be part of the formula.
It's got to be in there somewhere. When we come back, we'll talk about the Titans, including taking a deeper look at the injury report that came out yesterday for Tennessee. Is it time for concern with one of the prominent players for the Titans on offense? We'll get into that coming up next. Right now, though, speaking of Week 1, I got to tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL Week 1 finally here today, and now all you need to do is log on to FanDuel Sportsbook and claim your risk-free bet. That's right, FanDuel is giving all customers a risk-free bet just in time for Week 1 of the NFL season. Tampa Bay and Dallas in action tonight. The NFL season kicks off. Tampa 8.5 points favorites in this game on the FanDuel Sportsbook line. You can take it any way you want to take it. There's money line bets, over-under, prop bets, same-game parlays. Take it any way you want to take it, and that's just one of the many reasons I love betting with FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook. It's very easy to use, and they get you your money quickly in as little as 24 hours. So use FanDuel Sportsbook on any Week 1 game. Bet the money line or take the over. Throw some action on a prop bet or build a same-game parlay bet. There are just so many ways to play. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code ROB and also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That promo code is ROB. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issues is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Joe will probably be one of the ones wearing a hard hat.
I mean, I'm yeah, exactly.
When they take the picture, be like Mayor Cooper.
He's going to have
Candace
the giant
Lee,
scissors.
The Chancellor, Clark Lee, Tim Corbin, Joe Rexrode, cutting right there.
With a big pair of scissors
he'll
and the
be
ribbon.
Right, he'll
Joe.
be right there.
Vandy Joe.
Andy Joe, baby. That's right.
Joe Rexrode tomorrow, Robby and Rexrode. Joe, appreciate it. And
Congratulations on the win, Joe.
that's such bullcrap.
Why?
Thank you, Caroline. Jared, hold that L, baby. Hold that L. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Joe.
That was Joe Rexrode yesterday on Stillman and Company. Telling Stillman to hold that L. Good job yesterday on the show.
It's not hard. I mean, I don't take any I mean, honestly, I will dunk on him because I like him to feel bad about his terrible opinions, but it's not some achievement to beat him in an argument. It's like beating Brennan in fantasy football. I mean, I almost feel bad about it.
Joe, Brennan is going to win.
Oh, please! I mean, Brennan trying to talk trash. He's like typing my full name into the.
He did.
Yeah.
Throughout
you saw what I deal with now.
Well, he
You guys
threw
have
out
seen
some
a glimpse.
LeBron James is trash. Aaron Rodgers is trash.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah.
All right.
Sure. Yeah. Totally. Everybody's trash.
He said Kentucky basketball was. I have an issue with that.
Oh yeah, he's like Kentucky basketball's trash. John Calipari's a cheater. I'm like, Brennan, just okay. We don't have time to explain everything to you right now. Just do your chores. Go to bed. We'll
reconvene.
Don't leave dishes in your room. Don't put glass like a glass of water or milk on wood without putting a coaster down. I mean, I can go on and on. But I mean, again, it's similar. Actually, it is. Like the Stillman's daddy name. I mean, it kind of does feel similar when I'm arguing with Jared. Like Jared, come on, let me help you with this. Did you do your homework, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right. We'll get a little bit more into the discussion that Jared and Joe had yesterday coming up at 7 o'clock regarding the Vanderbilt Commodores. Joe, the injury report came out yesterday for the Titans, which, as I said yesterday on the show, it may be Mike Vrabel's least favorite day of the year with the injury report coming out. And now there's a little bit more clarity on what's going on. And A.J. Brown on the injury report with knee listed on the injury report. He did not practice yesterday. We know that A.J. Brown had off-season knee surgery. We talked about the Instagram video that went along with that and how wonderful that was. But yet again, the knees bothering A.J. Brown heading into this season. Now, he's not been a full participant at training camp throughout the whole time. He's not really played in the preseason. So I'm not overly concerned that A.J. Brown's going to miss the game on Sunday or anything like that. But is it time to be concerned about A.J. Brown and his knees, given the fact that he did just have surgery on his knees? Obviously, they were bothering him all season long last year, and now here we are before week 1, and he is on the injury report once again with knee problems.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, look, he got all mad about Adam Schefter's report, whenever that was, a couple weeks ago, about a knee thing, and he sort of, without directly, kind of subtweeted it, saying, what did he say? Like, don't believe this stuff or something like that. Well, I mean, he's on the injury report with a knee, and he had the surgery. We saw the pain he was in, also how incredibly well he played last year, despite that. But, yeah, I mean, long term, I don't think it's great that you had surgery and now on the first week of the season, it's not even like because of some games, you start to get banged up a little bit. I mean, the amazing thing about this injury report is, I'm looking at it like, boy, there's the shortest one of the year, 3 people, and it's just going to keep growing and growing. Yep. And it's going to get harder and harder for a lot of people in this league, in this team, in this league. So first week, you're on it. You're not practicing on Wednesday how much have we talked about this offense, needing to play together and build that. Now, Tannehill and Brown have chemistry, but still, Brown, Julio Jones on the field doing reps at the same time, and he's not out there. I will say, today, very, very interested to see. I mean, I would assume he would be out there. If he's not out there today, then, I guess it's fair to say he's questionable for Sunday, which would be obviously a huge disappointment and something to really worry about. I mean, I saw him Monday out there, looked totally fine. Yesterday, saw him walking in the building, He was. I mean, it's not like he was limping or anything. He's looked to be in good spirits. So I'm suspecting he'll be back out on the practice field today. He'll be ready to play Sunday. He'll probably play well. But think back to the beginning of camp with A.J. Brown. The first few days of camp, he took all the reps, and he was doing team and doing everything, and he was absolutely dominant. We talked about it on the show at the time. And then he started to not participate. And I don't think that's by design. I mean, I'm assuming somewhere along the way there was a tweak. There was some sort of something emerged. And it's not where you want things to emerge, especially when you've already had surgery and dealt with it for a year. So, yeah, I think it's fair to be concerned long-term about his knees.
Well, the big thing is, and I heard you guys discussing this yesterday, and I agree, like you're getting close to the point where you're going to have to make a decision on how much money A.J. Brown is worth. And we know it's going to be a lot. I mean, A.J. Brown's going to make a lot of money on his next contract if he continues to play, not only continues to play the way that he's played, but continues to build on that, which I think there's a case that he can. But what you don't want to have happen is you give A.J. Brown a long-term deal as one of the highest-paid wide receivers in the NFL, and then he can't play at that level anymore because he's got knee problems. That's what you want to avoid if you're the Titans. So I'm concerned about this. Now, do I think that A.J. Brown, this is all of a sudden going to put the Titans season in jeopardy? Like, no. Like, I think A.J. Brown's going to be out there on Sunday. I think he's going to be able to play. But, man, it would sure be nice to see A.J. Brown be able to play at, like, full strength and have a fully healthy body out there and be able to play. We saw how good he was a year ago, and he was hurt the whole time. Like, what could he do if he was completely healthy? I would really love to find out the answer to that question if I'm a Titans fan.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, last year, for a lot of it, I guess I didn't really realize he was hurt. But if you go back last year, there was certainly something happened in camp, and then he was all of a sudden not out there much, and he had something on the knee and on and on and on. So it's pretty amazing that he played the way he did last year. It's hard to just keep counting on that, right? I mean, if that's going to be a continued problem, then at some point it's going to affect your play more. But, yeah, I mean, I keep going back to the huge difference from the beginning of camp with him in both participation and how – I guess I shouldn't say how he looked because he hasn't done a ton of team stuff since then. But that right there should tell you something. Again, those guys, AJ and Julio, were leading all the drills Monday. That's all we get to see now. We don't get to watch team. And nothing on either knee. In some of the drills, you're sprinting, you're going fast. Looked just like A.J. Brown. So that's good. Is it possible that something happened in team that day? That's also a possibility here. That something happened and they're like, well, he's got to miss Wednesday. Or was this like, you know what? One day a week, he's just going to take off, and that's the plan going forward. And if that's the best case scenario right now,
right,
from the outside looking in, that they're like, look, we can afford for him to not practice one day a week. We'll go Wednesday, and that'll give it extra rest, and then do the full deal Thursday, because Thursday is a very important practice in an NFL week. I mean, Thursday is the last full go practice. Friday you walk through, Saturday off, game Sunday. So if that's like what it is, then that's best case scenario right now, and it's just them trying to be smart and not overburden the knee.
Well, and if memory serves me correctly, didn't he miss a couple days a week last year at practice? Just based on the injury?
He missed a lot of practice.
Yeah, he missed a lot of practice last year.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's not what you want, but he still found a way for the most part to be out there on Sunday.
I want to say, I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I was about to say I think there were definitely weeks where he didn't practice and he played Sunday, but it feels like he got in a day usually. But definitely he missed a lot of days. Now there were other guys like Ben Jones. I for sure last year there were some weeks where it's just like, man, just find a way to get out there Sunday, buddy, and he did. But yeah, A.J. Brown missed a lot of practice time. Again, if that's what this is, I mean, today's important over there to see if he's in uniform and out there. Because if not, then it looks a little bit more like something recent happened. And Sunday is actually a question mark. And it'd be quite a downer for the Titans to not have the full complement of skill guys Sunday afternoon.
And then a couple other guys on the injury report as well. Chris Jackson on the injury report with a hamstring, limited participant yesterday. David Long with a hamstring as well, also a limited participant.
Well, limited for David Long is good.
Yes.
Because, again, he's missed time. You know, those hammies, you know how that goes. I mean, the hammies are just – you just got to be careful about coming back too early. And sometimes you don't, and then it still flares up on you the first time you extend yourself. That tells me – I mean, I think Elijah Molden's going to start in the slot. And I think David Long, if they could get him – on third downs, they would love to have him. That would be good to have his speed on Sunday, especially you think about this particular matchup.
Coming up next, we'll continue to look ahead at NFL's Week 1 in the NFL season with our divisional previews. Up next, the AFC West. We'll do that on the other side. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Do you want to win a pair of tickets to see Stanford versus Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt Stadium on Saturday, September the 18th? Well, if you do, head on over to our YouTube page and subscribe to the 1025 The Game YouTube page, and you'll enter to win your way into the game. One winner will be chosen on Monday, September the 13th. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, here on ESPN 1025 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Looking ahead at each NFL division throughout the rest of the week here. And today we do the AFC and NFC West. And, Joe, we begin with the AFC West. And some intriguing teams, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs, once again the favorites in the AFC to get back to the Super Bowl. You've got the Raiders with John Gruden and company, the Broncos, and the LA Chargers as well, who are receiving a ton of love this offseason. I think I know what your answer is going to be on this, but as you look at this division, what is the most intriguing team, or who is the most intriguing team to you as you look at these four teams in the AFC West as NFL's Week 1 is set to begin coming up later today?
So you think my answer will be the Chargers?
That is what I think it will be.
Maybe I'm just chargered out a little
Well,
bit.
it could be.
You know?
I could see why.
Because I think the Raiders are intriguing. I actually think like the whole division is like has potential. I mean, the Broncos, if they actually stay healthy, like I think they could be a pretty good defensive football team. Their head coach is a pretty good defensive football coach. The thing with them, they're kind of in a tough spot though, unless they can get your guy, because I feel like they're going to be stuck in the middle if they don't. They're too good on D to be total dog water.
Well, they're not getting him this year.
What's that?
They're not getting him this year.
Well, right, but I'm saying moving forward, like they might just be stuck, not able to get that quarterback, which who they've obviously been trying to get. And I mean, Bridgewater's a pretty good player. I think he could be pretty good. I like their receiving core. They've got talent there, pretty good backs. So I think they're maybe I would say the Broncos. Maybe I'd say the Broncos because I actually think that they could sneak into the playoff discussion. But I would say the same thing about the Raiders. I don't see anyone in this division that's hopeless, and I know that's the whole idea with the NFL. Everybody be 8-8ish.
Yeah.
Everybody have a hope, have a chance. Yeah,
9-8.
Yes. Thank you. Now that it's actually starting, let me just say again.
This is it.
So
it's
damn
the beginning.
stupid.
It's a new era today, Rexrode. We're finally here. The 17-game NFL schedule.
We were asking at the draft last night, is anybody older than me? I think we got a couple people in the league. But the point is, I'm pretty freaking old. And my entire football watching life, it has been a 16-game schedule. It is one of those things in life you can rely on. The sun coming up in the morning, taxes and death, and 16-game NFL seasons. But whatever. So 9-8, 9-8 type team. Sure. No, I've lost my train of thought. The Broncos intrigue me. The Raiders intrigue me. I mean, I like their skill a lot. Are they going to be good enough defensively? Like what's the feeling in Raider Nation? You're speaking about crazy fans. I mean, have we ripped Raiders fans enough? By the way, Dennis, to follow up on what he said last night, doing security at Titans games, he said Steelers are the worst. I see Michelle
eye roll.
rolling. I see the eye roll. And then he went Raiders Bengals for the record.
Buffalo.
The Bengals.
Yeah, he said
Really?
Bengals fans are like shockingly awful. Again,
Wow.
with all these fan bases, let's and this is a great rule. This is also a rule of life. Like there are idiots in every fan base. So if you sit next to the wrong example of a fan base, you could then say, "Oh my God, Tulane football fans are the worst." Or if you sit next to the right group, it's like, "Wow, Ohio State fans are so reasonable and kind. I had no idea." So, but yeah, that's what he said. Anyway, Chargers do intrigue me, and the Chiefs also intrigue me because now that they have an offensive line, what the heck are they going to be this year?
Look, we know they're going to be really good, and I'm intrigued to see just how good they're going to be. The most intriguing team / player to me is really one guy, and that's Justin Herbert in this division. I mean, there's so much talk about Justin Herbert right now being an elite-level quarterback. And, look, he was good in his rookie year. I don't think there's any question about it. He set the rookie touchdown passing record. So he was really, really good. Now, there's a difference between being really good and some of the conversations that people are having about Justin Herbert this year. I mean, there are people that have already anointed him as like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So I'm not quite willing to go there yet. I'm interested to see, though, if he can live up to the hype that's surrounding Justin Herbert this year, because not only he, but the Chargers as a whole, a very popular pick across the league this year to do some damage.
Yeah, and look, I think like Sheil Kapadia for us at The Athletic, he made a strong case for them. And really it comes down to Sheil is a big – he's not alone, but he's a big like regression to the mean stats guy. So when you have a high level of, either bad or good luck, and you have a high level of like close or wins or losses, a lot of times that next year you see it kind of bounce back the other way. They were definitely a bad luck team, definitely some of those stats that just got them. I mean, they lost so many games late. It cost Anthony Lynn his job. I think in some of those cases, coaching was directly, a problem. That makes sense. And honestly, some people make the case against the Titans for some of those things too. The Titans, like turnover margin was bizarre given their defensive struggles, for example, and so there's some people look at them and say there may be some regression the other way this year. The big question too is with the Chargers is Brandon Staley. I mean, is he going to be a good head coach? I mean, who knows? You're talking about 38 years old, so he's a young guy. Obviously he's just moves across town. He was McVay's DC, and that's a big part of this. What's he going to be as a head coach? But I get it because I do think that they have a very talented roster. Joe Lombardi is a guy now working with Herbert, and so that's a big part of this. I think Herbert's good. I think he's very good, maybe. I think he's good for sure. Very good, probably. Great? I don't know. Let's hit pause on that.
What do you think this division looks like when the Week 18 is said and done and the 17-game schedule's been played? Who wins this division? What is the order of finish in this division in your mind? You going to go out on a limb, say the Chiefs win?
I'd love to be different. But like if this was – see, this is one of those things that we need to do. We need to have like Caroline have the argument. Okay, so the Kansas City Chiefs will win the division, yes or no? And then I'll make the argument for the Chiefs, and then Jim – he'll just
the Chargers.
But, I'll go Chiefs. I'll go I'm going to go Chargers. I think the Chargers – like I actually sneaky wanted to pick the Broncos because I like Bridgewater. I like their defense, but I'll go Chargers then Broncos, and I'll go Raiders fourth. And back around to the wacky Raiders fans. What are they feeling about Gruden right now?
Well, they're probably impatient based on the contract that he signed, but also based on the contract he signed. He ain't going anywhere, so you better get comfortable with him because he's not going anywhere. Like they're not firing him. Yeah. What does he got? Like 6 years left on that deal?
It was a big, expensive deal.
And that's why you don't do that.
Right. But will this time up where he can be with the Vols next? That's another question for another segment.
We'll have to get to that coming up. We'll just keep an eye on Calhoun's out of Knoxville.
That's right.
See what happens on that front. I've got the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and then the Broncos.
Down on the Broncos.
Quarterback's Teddy Bridgewater. And I like him.
It's better than Drew Lock.
He's better than Drew Lock, but that's not a very high bar. So give me the Broncos in fourth.
Yeah. But I think
they're competitive.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be awful.
Yeah, there's nobody awful in that division.
Right.
And I don't think you can say that for sure about any other division in the AFC. You can.
Not in the AFC, for sure. But
Yeah.
there is one division that you can say that about.
Oh,
And
yes.
we're going to get to that coming up next. What could be the best division in the NFL, the NFC West. Titans will get their first look at that coming up on Sunday. We'll preview that division next. Right now, though, got to tell you about my friends at the Nashville Predators. And hockey is almost back, and it's your time to think about getting back in the building at Bridgestone Arena. Regular season and preseason games in October, November, and December now on sale to the general public, and future months will go on sale in the coming weeks. They're on sale exclusively at Ticketmaster.com. The Nashville Predators cannot wait to fill Bridgestone Arena with 17,159 of the best fans in sports once again. So don't miss out on the 16 exciting home games scheduled during the first 3 months of the season. For more information on Predators tickets, you can visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Once again, that's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in Saturday as Nashville SC takes on Montreal. Pregame starts at 6:45 and the match begins at 7 o'clock. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Looking ahead to the divisions in the NFL, we've done the AFC West today Now looking at the NFC West, and Joe, the Titans will get their first look at the NFC West through the first couple of weeks this season, with Arizona coming in on Sunday and then Seattle in week 2 out west. This very well could be the best division in all of the NFL. Now, we'll see how that plays out this year, but certainly I think you can make that argument last year that it was the best division in the entire National Football League. And with San Francisco healthier heading into this year, I think that makes that division that much better. So you've got the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. There's not a bad team that's in that group. I'm really interested to see how this division is going to play out.
Yeah, the clear fourth place pick is Arizona. I think everyone would pick Arizona fourth. Everyone is picking Arizona fourth. Arizona's a playoff quality team. I think now if some things work out for them. But you think about J.J. Watt, overpaid, but J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones as a tandem, that could be interesting. They got speed at linebacker, some good young players, good safety, Budda Baker, and then a lot of talent on offense. The story for them is going to be health on D, but more than anything, it's Kyler Murray. If you look at this division from the quarterback perspective, the only thing, that's obviously the only hesitation with the Niners, because I just feel like, how many times do you see it? I don't have the stat on this, but I swear this is like almost a lock, is that you see so many Super Bowl losers then have bad seasons the next year. That's people have talked about that for a long time. Like, that's happened a lot. But then the year after that, they come back in a big way.
Yep.
And that part of it, I don't have stats on, but it's happened many times, and I think the Niners are due for that. Again, they need good luck. They're due for some good luck. The Seahawks, good team. The thing is, I guess the clear favorite would be the Rams, but I still think there are questions about them too. This should be just a great race.
Well, it's going to be a great race, and you've got Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. They'll have something to say about it as well, and all the saga of the offseason of him requesting a trade or putting a team list out there and then getting to offseason workouts for the Seahawks and say, I never requested a trade. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, Russell, whatever. I guess you technically didn't request a trade, but when your agent's putting out destinations of places you'd like to go, that conversation's gotten down the road a little bit.
This reminds me of my worst thing in sports today, which I'll save for that. But like NFL fans, you got to start realizing like there are people who talk to front office people of your team and other teams. Like, they're not making crap up, dude.
Yeah.
They talk to the people and they tell them stuff. And then, yes, sometimes you'll get the, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You need to be able to read through that.
More intriguing player to you in this division? Is it Matt Stafford coming in as quarterback of the Rams? Is it Jimmy G with the Niners and the level that he can play? Because I still kind of think if they can get good quarterback play out of Jimmy G, this Niners team could be the best team in the entire division.
Well, that question to me is not close, because I think I know what Jimmy G is, and I think he is good. I think he's good enough to win a lot of games for them. And I like the sort of the plan they have with Trey Lance. They're not going to, just throw him into it, of course. He is the quarterback of the future, but they're going to keep him involved. I think that's a nice role. Now, of course, if Jimmy G does struggle, then at some point the most popular guy in the NFL town is often the number 2 quarterback. So that could be intriguing, but I'm way more intrigued with Matthew Stafford. I really, truly believe – look, I've been forced to watch more Lions football than I'd care to watch. It was nice to hear Brennan acknowledge that they're going to suck, at least last night, when we told him their number 1 receiver is Khalif Raymond. He was like, what?
Oh, yeah.
He's transitioning to being a Titans fan, so this is, they're positive
It's a big
things.
year for him.
Yeah, but I've watched a lot of Matthew Stafford, and I'm a big believer in him. I am. Now, he hasn't been perfect, and sometimes he forces stuff that you just don't need to force. But again, he played for the Lions. I just feel like in that offense, with that coach, with good weapons, with a good defense, the running game is not as good as it was supposed to be, but I still think it can be pretty good. I'm very intrigued by Matthew Stafford. I think that I think he could be great, and they could be great. And I'm more on the believing side of that. I mean, both L.A. teams are like they're sexy picks, right? It's a Hollywood year.
A lot of hype.
A lot of hype for the. I am much more buying of the Rams hype than I am of the Chargers hype.
And then Seattle. I mean, they just kind of, and I feel like they're kind of an afterthought for some people when the Niners are in the division. They're healthier. I mean, I saw a lot of, predictions yesterday looking ahead at Defensive Player of the Year. Whole lot of Nick Bosa on that list, which, hey, that's a good pick. But a lot of love for the Niners, a lot of love for the Rams. The Seahawks, very good team, very good quarterback. Still, to me, far and away, the best quarterback in this division. I like the Seahawks. I think they're going to be really good once again.
They are too much of an afterthought, and, of course, we're going to see them real soon. The Titans get to play them week 2. So people around here are going to watch some Seahawks football early and in a maybe the best environment, too, in the NFL. And now it's back to being, truly what it is. I mean, you've got Metcalf and Lockett, pretty good running game. Their defense is –
it's not the
good.
Legion Boom.
Yeah, it's not what it was. And maybe that's kind of the hesitation. And I think also there's just like the whole Russell Wilson stuff. Like, what does that mean? I wouldn't to me, it's like, okay, now you're into a season. You be pros about it. And I imagine he'll play well. You said he's far and away the best QB. I mean, I can't argue that he's the best.
He is far and away the best.
I think Matthew Stafford
is not in the same breath as Russell Wilson. Give me a break. Give me a break.
But see, I will argue. Here's the thing. Russell Wilson look, he's better. I'm not saying that he's not better. He's better. But like you got multiple tiers between those guys?
Yes, I do.
This is what happens with people who play for the Detroit Lions. People think less of them.
Name one thing that Matthew Stafford does better than Russell Wilson.
Oh, his arm talent is absolutely better than
Name
Russell Wilson's.
one thing actually playing the quarterback position.
Throwing the football?
That Matthew Stafford does better than Russell Wilson.
So throwing the football, is that a part of playing quarterback? He throws the football better than Russell Wilson throws it. He has
Does
better
he
arm
hit his
talent.
receivers better than Russell Wilson throws it? Because that's what playing quarterback is.
Well, I mean,
you have to complete the pass.
You want to see the stats? I mean,
yes.
Okay. I'll give you the Matthew Stafford career stats. They're ridiculous.
I know that they're
terrible. Okay, so what are we talking about?
Does he complete the ball to his receivers better than Russell Wilson?
Did I say he was better?
No.
Okay.
I asked you to be one thing better that he does.
He has better arm talent than Russell Wilson.
Okay.
So I've answered your question. I said Russell Wilson is better. There's not some massive
there's
gap.
a big gap.
I mean, let's see. 5,038 yards, 97.2 rating, 49.67, 46.50, 44.46, 4,000, 42.62, 85.7 rating, 97 rating, 93 rating, 99.3 rating. I mean, the numbers, you want to compare them? They're pretty comparable. In some cases, they're a lot better. For a terrible team, with Russell Wilson playing for great teams with great defenses, come on, with Marshawn Lynch. Again, I would take Russell Wilson over Matthew Stafford, but no, the gap is not huge.
So with that said, how do you predict this division finishes, 1 through 4? Maybe the toughest division to predict in all of the NFL.
I'm going to go Rams.
Okay.
I'm going to go Niners.
Oh, yeah.
Seahawks, Cards. And again, I think the Seahawks are a playoff team. I think the Cards are very close to a playoff team. But, yeah, the Cali teams, 1 and 2.
I say all that. I've got the Niners at number 1. I've got the Niners at 1. I've got the Rams at 2 because I love their defense. Seahawks 3. Cardinals 4. But I think every team in this division is going to win at least 9 games. I think it's going to be a really good division.
I agree. It's a very good division. With very good
multiple
quarterbacks.
Great quarterbacks galore in this division. Kyler Murray is going to come in here and throw for 400 yards on Sunday.
He might. He might. Mike Vrabel said Jeffrey Simmons told us yesterday Mike Vrabel tells him to capture him, not kill him.
I saw that.
Jeez.
It's
getting intense right away.
Got intense right away in week 1 for that Titans defense.
I do get with that really quick for people. That, the point is if you try to take a big hit on the guy,
he's going to be running for 25 yards.
You got to keep him hemmed in. But, yeah, it's an interesting way to put it.
It was very interesting. When we come back, speaking of interesting, Joe Rexrode, Jared Stillman, had a very interesting discussion yesterday regarding Vanderbilt and the investment level of their football program. We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Got a loaded hour coming up here on Robby and Rexrode. Rick Stockstill, MTSU head coach, will join us at 7:30. And we'll be joined by Josh Reynolds, Titans wide receiver, coming up a little bit later in the hour as well. So looking forward to that. Got a lot to get to this hour coming up on the program.
Busy.
Going to be a busy hour. So, Joe, I was speaking of busy. Lots of discussion yesterday between you and Jared Stillman on the Jared versus Joe segment at 5 o'clock on Stillman & Company. And one of the things that you got into was Vanderbilt. And Caroline Fenton threw out the question about the coaching staff and Clark Lee and what they bring to the table. And obviously, it's been a tough week for Vanderbilt, losing to ETSU, a lot of negativity around the program after that loss. Caroline asking the question to both of you, do you still believe in the message that Clark Lee has and ultimately what he's doing to make this program successful? And that led to a discussion of the investment level of the program. We've talked about the Vandy United Fund here on this show, $300 million being committed to athletic facilities and that led to a heated discussion between you and Jared Stillman. So kind of set up for our listeners exactly what the discussion was about and the position that you take on the $300 million project that Vanderbilt has already thrown out there publicly.
See, the problem is now you're counting on Captain Oldbrain here to remember the exact question that Caroline asked. But basically, yeah, it was about Vanderbilt and investment. And see, so Jared was not the only person I argued about this with yesterday. I argued with another reporter. I guess I won't name the reporter since, he may not realize that, that I didn't clear it with him. But we also got back and forth on this too. And one, I think, big mistake people make that Jared and the other person made is no one is saying Vanderbilt is catching up with anyone in the SEC, okay? No one is saying that. The point is, though, can you make it so that it's not an embarrassment? I mean, really, and I'll say this for the 10 millionth time. If you go by investment over the past, I mean, the arms race is basically about 30 years old, I would say. I mean, it really started to pick up in the 90s. My editor, Mitch Light, knows Vanderbilt, football as well as anyone. And he was talking about how, Jerry DiNardo, who was a coach in the early 90s, was like, I mean, there was they had a football building. Like in the early 90s, they had a football building. Everybody had a football building, whatever.
Sure.
It wasn't really a thing. I mean, at that point, if you go back to 30 years, the stadium even was only about 10 years out from its last big renovation. So, I mean, it's about 30 years that it's been an arms race. But in that time, the amount of money spent and the intensity of that race as it's picked up is just, I mean, obviously, if you pay attention to SEC football, you can go out and find all the pictures and you can find the price tags. It's ridiculous, really. I mean, it's just a fantasy world.
Astronomical.
It's a fantasy world, really. But that's the reality of big-time college football. And the reality for Vanderbilt for a long time, especially I'd say in the last 15, 20 years, 15 years, 10, 15 years. I mean, you have recruits in for a weekend and you don't want them to see your stuff. You don't want them to have that as a comparison to these other places. Vanderbilt is not proposing to try to catch anyone. They're not going to. But if you get to the point where you have respectable facilities that people actually want to go into and you can bring recruits and say, look at this. This is where your home's going to be. I don't think Jared and other people understand what a massive difference that is from nothing. That was my point. He's like $300 million. That's I'm not saying that that's it for them. They have to keep going. The stadium has to be on the list. And they've done a little bit, but they haven't done much. That's got to be on the list. Fan experience, all that stuff is also in the realm of necessity. But man, $300 million is going to be a huge difference. A huge difference. And again, it's just not being embarrassing.
I agree it's going to be a huge difference. I don't buy that Vanderbilt's not saying that they're trying to catch people, because when you throw out phrases like this is going to be the best facility in the country and this is going to be the best program in the country, to me that tells me you're trying to catch people.
Did they say best? I heard best program.
Oh, yes, they've said best facilities.
Yeah.
Well, look, I realize that everyone says that about what they're building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes, everybody says that about their program. We want to be the best program in America. So I get it. A lot of that is just coach speak, AD speak, whatever you want to call it. But when you say that, Vanderbilt fans, I think, have a right to be upset if that's not what ends up happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, but again, just go by price tag. I mean, you can't say that. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's whatever speak,
right?
Admin speak, coach speak. But I mean, it's not. They're not going to have the same stuff like Alabama and Tennessee.
Just fountains everywhere.
Yeah, but again, it's going to be a huge difference.
Lazy rivers.
Right. And again, who are they competing with? I mean, yeah, they're competing with SEC teams, Tennessee for certain players, but they're competing with the academic schools that can get the kids who are top football players but also are I really care about getting a degree from Stanford, from Northwestern, from Wake Forest, from Duke, from Vanderbilt. That's that now you have a much better chance with kids like that if you have facilities that are good, and they will. They will be good facilities. Good facilities at Vanderbilt versus Vanderbilt before is, I mean, night and day does not do justice to that. So that's my point. Also arguing yesterday on Vanderbilt, just look, there's a lot of obviously anger toward Clark Lee and doubt about Clark Lee, and I guess to Jared's credit, he dismissed that. It's one game. This story, if Vanderbilt fans have read Pete Sampson's story going behind the scenes, it's really interesting, and it's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday. If you lose, like your personality is bad, and if you win, you can find the good things. Oh, such a smart guy, and he's so cerebral, and just has that new age touch, poise. Yeah. And if you lose, it's like, yell at somebody, So this story, there's like a lot of stuff in this about let's practice shaking hands with ETSU after the game. Let's practice singing the fight song. Here's the warm-ups we're going to wear. Like very minute details, which is very Tim Corbin-ish, right? Yes. But so with Corbin, it's brilliant. It's genius. It's brilliant. Oh, look at that. But now with Clark Lee, some people are going to read this and say, oh, my, would you put a whistle around your neck and start screaming at somebody? Throw a football off somebody's head. What are you doing? Talk about beating ETSU's butt and how you have to take them seriously, blah, blah, blah. So it's interesting just how things will be perceived. But it is a fascinating story, including Ken Seals saying that the first time he met Clark Lee, Clark Lee's like, well, I know you were late to a practice last year. You don't look people in the eye. You need to, he dressed him down on all this stuff. And Seals was like, whoa, I didn't expect that, to paraphrase. Really fascinating stuff. And again, it's one awful game for an awful team. But, and look, the jury's out on Clark Lee, certainly, in this whole program. But I don't know how anybody could look at what Vanderbilt's been and think this won't matter. And I don't know how Vanderbilt has won a game in the SEC for so long. A game. If you go by investment, it shouldn't happen.
Well, and I think the point is this is $300 million investment. It's a difference, right? Like, it makes a difference. Now, is it going to put them in the upper echelon of the SEC East? No. And I don't know that.
No one's arguing
I don't know even with truth serum if anybody really believes that. Like, if it would take so much more than that. And we understand that. I think part of this question is the word success. Like, what does success mean? What does success mean to a Vanderbilt fan? Like, to me, success for Vanderbilt is if you can consistently reach 6 wins and get to a bowl, that's pretty successful. Now, if you told that to a Tennessee fan, they would laugh at you. But that's what it is. I mean, that's just the difference in perspective there. So, the word success, I think, means different things to different people. But when you ask me, like, is this investment level that we are going to see from Vanderbilt going to make a difference in that front to get them to a team where they should win 6 games on a consistent basis and be a bowl team year after year? Yes, I think it will. I think it should. Now, we'll see if it ends up actually happening. And to Jared's point, I understand the skepticism of, hey, let me see the shovel in the ground, because we talked about that a lot too. But also, like, how insane would Vanderbilt have to be at this point to announce what they've announced and make the big deal of it that they've made to not do anything at this point? Like, they're going to do this.
They have plans. They have the 200 that was already raised months ago. This is the problem with Jared and getting crushed in arguments, is that he brings in things that are so irrelevant. So he brought in David Williams talking about the stadium, okay? That was his example. Now, David Williams talking about the stadium, and now so he's equating David Williams in 2016 came to us at the Tennessean with basically what he wanted to be for the stadium, because he wanted to put public pressure on the administration that was completely ignoring him. There was no plan, there was no money raised, that it became a story because David Williams wanted it to be a story because he was frustrated with Nick Zeppos and how they were just completely ignoring what they wanted to do. So Jared equated that to, we have $200 million raised, we're raising the next $100 million, and here also plans are coming and we're building. Dude, it's stupid. I'm sorry, Jared, you got crushed because this is a thing you can't do in these arguments with me. If you want to try to step into the ring, bring some real stuff, not crap like you brought yesterday.
We'll continue this discussion when we come back. Got more of your thoughts to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025, The Game.
one bitter. Why did you flip me off as I got on the Zoom? That's what I want to know. I mean, I'm just coming here as a friend. This is all in fun.
Well, I just, just for fun. It did make me feel better, though, if that makes you feel any better.
Good. I'm glad. It does.
That was Jared and Joe yesterday on with Stillman and Company. Caroline Fenton, God bless her, the moderator, as you two go back and forth at each other. That's got to be a pretty tough job for Caroline at that point.
Wow. But, 4 hours every day.
Well,
Especially
it's
when
a lot of
Jared-
responsibility.
When Jared
some
refuses to
responsibility.
be wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some responsibility comes with that. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. John from Nashville texting in. I like Stillman, but he's off his rocker. $300 million will certainly aid in Vandy not being blown out every week. John on Team Joe.
Yeah, I mean, look, $300 million. No one. Honestly, I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm sure someone said it. Oh, the best facility, the best everything.
It's been
Yeah.
said.
But I mean, and I suppose, I guess when it's almost like NFL contracts, right? Like you get whoever's up, you get the best deal. Whoever's up, now you're number one, but you're not going to be number one for long. I suppose there could be some unique things about this facility where you say no one else has, whatever, like peanut shucker. I mean, what who knows? I mean, what else can they come up with? I have no idea. An olive bar. I mean, I don't know.
That'd be something.
But as far as just overall cost and luxury, it's not gonna be with these places that are just outrageous. And again, the whole thing is, if you kind of step back, I mean, it's kind of grotesque. I mean, it helps kind of explain why name, image, likeness and stuff had to happen, because it's like the LSU guys really they all have to have their own home theater in the locker room. Is that really
be a lazy river
necessary? Really? So, but to think that it's not gonna matter, I just think that's misunderstanding what it has been.
Let's go back to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Mike from Nashville texting in says Rexrode for the W. I got another texter that says, tell Joe Jared is about as annoying sometimes as the 9-8 record in the NFL. This coming from Matthew.
See, the problem
double shot.
also with destroying Jared in arguments, which is almost too easy, is then you get people who go overboard with all the meanness and stuff. And Jared's a friend, very talented guy, does a great show. I love Jared, and I love crushing him easily in arguments too. We can both things can be true.
That is true. Christopher goes on Periscope, says, to answer the Vandy question, yes and no. Franklin was able to succeed with lack of amenities. However, in today's football, money is a necessary evil to help sell your program via new facilities, etc. The problem with Vandy is more so identity and recruiting to that identity. They're not going to be able to recruit like Alabama or even Tennessee, for that matter.
Well, and no one thinks they will. Now, again, what is success? I think you're right. I think 6 wins. I mean, success is Pat Fitzgerald. You want Clark Lee to be Pat Fitzgerald, the guy who played for your program, and Pat Fitzgerald, Michigan tried to get him. Other programs have tried to get him. He stayed with his alma mater. So let's go through Pat Fitzgerald. 6-6, 9-4, 8-5, 7-6, 6-7. You build up to a 10-3 year. 5-7, 5-7. It really hasn't been as consistent as I would think. Then another 10-3 year, 7-6, 10-3, 9-5, 3-9, 7-2. I mean, it's a little bit all over the map, but it averages out to about 6-7 wins. You can count on them being competitive most years. They don't recruit like Ohio State and Penn State and those schools. They don't, and they won't. But they get enough of the kids who are, and again, it's not just recruiting either. It's also, do you develop players so that you have 4th and 5th year players who are better than their recruiting profile? That's a huge part of this. That's got to be a huge part of this. But no, they will never recruit at that level. But you can recruit at a level to have that kind of success at Vanderbilt if you have competent facilities, which they're about to have.
Trent and Dixon texting in on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So do you think upgrading the Lions and the Jets Stadium will help them get some wins? It's also the NFL.
No, in the NFL, you have a draft. The NFL is built for parity. College football is not built for parity.
It is not. Ron on the text line, you can sell a bee honey if it looks good. So I agree with you, Joe. Vandy needs a new stadium or at least more work done around the campus. So until then, Vandy won't get the 5 or 4-star recruits.
Again, they're never going to, I don't think, in our lifetime, load up on 4- and 5-star recruits.
No.
Here and there, I think you have some of those types of recruits who prioritize education because they're elite students too. Though, those prospects exist. There's not a huge pool of them, But we have seen Stanford in recent years be a national power in football. There's a lot of differences between the two schools' profiles, but, I mean, there are also similarities. I think Northwestern is a better comp for Vanderbilt. Northwestern, by the way, also has a $270 million football facility on Lake Michigan.
Looks pretty sweet.
Yeah. So they obviously have prioritized facilities, and that's one building that's almost the entirety of Vanderbilt's investment. But still, it matters, and even without that, they've recruited. And by the way, on James Franklin, that's a good point. But let's not forget, James Franklin got an indoor built here. So he recognized the problem. I think he caught a little bit of lightning in the bottle with that time period in the SEC and the SEC East, a little bit.
Yes.
But he did a great job. He recruited like crazy, and he got an indoor built. And if he would have stayed here, some of these things that are happening now would have happened earlier.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joey from Gallatin texting in. I think Jared misunderstood Caroline's point. The money invested will help improve the program and facilities, but won't fix all their problems. Taking steps forward is considered success as opposed to staying in the same place.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, but the question was posed is like, will it help them? Like, will it matter? And I just, the argument that it won't, and again, comparing this to like a desperate attempt to try to get something done versus here's $200 million that's raised, and here's where the buildings are going. I mean, okay, fine. Shovel in the ground, fine. I get that sentiment, but you kind of at some point need to kind of. It's not reading tea leaves. It's like reading press releases.
Yeah.
Can you read the press release? Because it tells you exactly what's going to happen, and that's different than
ideas.
An AD hoping something might happen, and I'll go to the media. Come on.
Two very different things on that front. But a passionate discussion nonetheless. Everybody enjoyed that discussion yesterday that I talked to. That's the first thing people in our fantasy football league talked about when I showed up.
Oh, yeah?
Did you hear Joe and Jared? I was like, oh, yeah, I heard them.
Well, all right. Well, hey, people seem to maybe should I take it easy on them next week?
No.
I'm almost starting to feel guilty a little bit.
No, I don't think you are.
See, Caroline's in a tough spot because, like, she can't declare me the winner like 6 straight weeks, you know? Like, you can't do it.
Probably not. We'll see what happens, though.
He'll cry so much.
When we come back, we'll be joined by MTSU head football coach Rick Stockstill in action this week against Virginia Tech. So looking forward to that conversation. Right now, though, got to tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. And FanDuel Sportsbook is celebrating with 40-1 odds on any Week 1 game, with the NFL being back, Week 1 beginning tonight. And who doesn't want to win $200 on a $5 bet? New customers get 41 odds when you place your first wager. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and the app is so easy to use. Tampa Bay in action tonight against Dallas. Tampa Bay -8.5 is the line right now. I'm going with the Bucks on that line, but you take it any way you want to take it. Offers like this are just one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel. It's the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. It's safe and secure, easy to use, and they get you your money as quickly as 24 hours. So just sign up with promo code ROB, and you could win $200 on a $5 bet. That promo code is ROB, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. A $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. A max bonus of $200. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank, now with 2 locations in Murfreesboro. Visit our brand new Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Volunteer State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we are pleased to be joined on our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, by MTSU head football coach Rick Stockstill. Rick, what's going on, man? How we doing?
I'm great, man. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. So, Rick, a good showing for your guys in Week 1, a 50-15 win against Monmouth. What did you learn about your group in your Week 1 win?
Well, I think there's always, in the first game, there's so many unknowns that you have against about the team you're getting ready to play, because you don't know the changes that they made schematically or with their athletes, who they brought in and that sort of thing. And then just, you can simulate the game-like situations as much as you want in practice, but you can't get the full feel for it, until you actually play a game. And I liked how we played. Obviously we made some, mistakes that we got to get corrected this week, some typical first game mistakes that you have a tendency to make. But overall, I was really pleased. I thought we, started out a little slow, with the first quarter, but I think that was not making excuses or anything, but I think it's almost a little bit to be expected as you adjust to the speed of the game and everything. So, but we played really good. We were very efficient offensively. Defensively, we did a nice job keeping the ball in front of us. We didn't give up a bunch of big plays. We tackled well for the first game, and I thought we were really sound in the kicking game.
So Bailey Hockman, 17 for 22, 215 and 3 touchdowns, really efficient. I know you've been excited about him, Rick. First of all, just what did you think of the performance, and did you learn anything about him in this first performance in the game?
I think the big thing, the thing that you're most impressed with, is he protected the ball. And, we struggled a little bit, especially the early part of camp. He hit a spell where, he was turning it over, once or twice a day. And I just told him to let the game come to him, play within the system and everything. And he cannot win the game by himself, so don't try to. And so I thought he played really smart. He avoided, a couple sacks by throwing the ball away. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. Made some really nice throws. His receivers made really good plays for him as well. So he's just got to continue to, as he understands, the offense better. And like I said, he's only been here for, spring practice and then just a little bit of camp that we've had. So I expect him to get better, each week as the season goes along.
MTSU football coach Rick Stockstill on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And, Rick, you guys traveling to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock. You can check that game out here on 102.5 The Game. What's this week like? What's kind of the vibe you've gotten from your players in terms of the excitement level to go and take on an opponent like Virginia Tech, who obviously had a big win in Week 1 as well?
Yeah, we're excited about it. And, we played these games – a million times now, so we're not going to go walking in that stadium in awe or intimidated or anything like that. So excited about this. The first time, these guys have played in front of a big crowd like we're going to play in front of in a couple years, because we didn't have it last year. And so we're excited about that, and going to play a good football team. They're ranked in the top 20 now, and understand the challenge, but also looking forward to the opportunity that's in front of us.
Yeah, obviously that, you're talking about a Virginia Tech defense taking on, what some people think is the number 1 pick in the next NFL draft, and Sam Howell. I watched a lot of that game. I thought they looked like some Virginia Tech defenses we've seen, over the years there. what about that particular matchup after a nice, efficient day for your offense? What makes them so good?
I think the big thing is, and you're right about the old school, Virginia Tech defense. And to me, it's almost like an SEC football team, how physical they are on defense, and then what they try to do to you on offense. And, it's going to be a physical game, and they're going to try to, use their size advantage, like most schools do when we play those guys, and try to beat us up physically with the run game. But they're very fast on defense. Their front seven is very dynamic. Put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, at North Carolina, and try to do the same thing with us. So we're expecting a lot of pressure. Their front seven is really special. They're big, they're physical, they can run, they put pressure on the quarterback, and they didn't give up big plays, to North Carolina, which, like you said, the quarterback is supposed to be one of the best in the country. And, they pretty much shut him down.
Well, Rick, what about the other side of the ball for you guys defensively? Obviously, you got to get a lot of players in there and get some game action against Monmouth this past week. What do you make of the depth that you guys have been able to develop on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy where we are defensively. We had a couple guys out, and we still have a couple guys out for this week that hopefully we'll get back next week. But I liked how we played defensively. Like I said, we tackled well for the first game. We didn't give up. We gave one big play up where they hit a fake bubble and go on us, for a touchdown. They got over the top of us. So we did a lot better job of keeping the ball in front of us than we did last year. The big concern is going into this game is because of how physical they are. We've got to be really good on first down defense to try to keep them in third and longer down and distance situations, because if they can have a lot of success on first down and make third down, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, it's going to be hard for us, to get off the field. So we got to do a really good job defensively of keeping the ball in front of us, obviously, and then being really good and efficient on first down.
Boy, Rick, I look at your schedule. I mean, I know you're focused on these guys, but I see UTSA next, very good team, and then of course Charlotte just beat Duke. Will Healy after that, so it's quite a stretch here for your team. I apologize, Rick, if I missed this. I'm Virginia Tech. I know, like my brother who went to Virginia Tech, he was planning on coming into town last year for that game, at your place and make a weekend of it. Is there a possibility that will happen down the line?
I don't know that answer. And, just how far, especially, the Power 5 schools, how far out they schedule. I don't know if there's a date, that works for both parties that we can make up that game. So I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Well, Rick, we're looking forward to this game coming up on Saturday. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Good luck to you and your football team as you travel to Blacksburg, and thanks for taking time to join us this morning.
Man, I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for all you do for not only Middle Tennessee, but, all the sports here in the Middle Tennessee area. So appreciate you guys.
Well, we really appreciate you. Rick Stockstill, MTSU football coach, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check out that game coming up on Saturday, 1 o'clock on 102.5 The Game, MTSU and Virginia Tech. So really looking forward to that coming up. Big challenge for MTSU, but as Rick Stockstill pointed out there, also a big opportunity for MTSU as well. So going to look forward to that game coming up. And right now, we're pleased to go back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Titans wide receiver Josh Reynolds. Josh, what's going on, man? How we doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're good. Appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. So, Josh, game week is finally here. It's week 1 against Arizona. What's your excitement level to get out there and get on the field with your new team coming up on Sunday?
Oh man, I'm greatly excited and blessed to be able to be a part of the Titans, man. I'm looking forward to the energy the fans about to bring. With the whole COVID year, we haven't had fans in the stands in a whole season, so fans I bet are gonna be amped up and just ready for the atmosphere.
So, Josh, I know this preseason hasn't gone exactly as you'd hoped in terms of being a little bit banged up, and you told us after the practice at Nissan, the Achilles has been bothering you. Then you missed a little bit of time, but it looks like you're out there running really well right now. Is that past you? Would you call yourself 100% now, or is it still somewhat of a hindrance?
Oh man, I honestly wouldn't call it 100%. I mean, at this point, I kind of don't know anybody who would say that about 100% going into the season. But I'm at a point where I'm able to go out there and play how I want to play. So it's definitely inclining in the right direction.
Josh, what have you learned about this offense in your time here with Todd Downing, obviously leading the way at the offensive coordinator position? Tannehill and Derrick Henry have been very productive the last couple of years. What excites you the most about this offense and your role in this offense as you move forward here? Just
new experiences and new opportunities. That's one big reason why I chose the Titans is the opportunities that'll be there. So. I'm excited to see where my role is in this organization and help them win.
Well, as you've come back here, it seems like obviously, A.J. Brown has missed some time, Julio Jones has missed some time. I know A.J. wasn't on the field yesterday, but it sounds like on Monday in team, you guys got everyone together and were able to have a really good practice. What did that look like? And for people who are going to be in the stadium Sunday, I mean, what do you think this offense could look like with all of these weapons, operating together?
Man, all I can say is it's going to look dangerous, man. We got a lot of weapons out there, like you were saying, and my guy Tannehill to spread it around, and then you got that beast of a human back in the backfield. So, I mean. It's looking dangerous.
It is looking dangerous. And, Josh, to that point, you brought up Tannehill, and we talk a lot here on our show. I mean, we've watched Tannehill pretty closely, obviously, the last couple of years, and he's played really well. Maybe doesn't get the respect he deserves nationally. Is there anything that you've learned about Ryan Tannehill that maybe surprised you since you came here with the Titans in terms of what he brings to the table when he's on the field?
No, man. Honestly, I've admired him from afar, both being A&M guys and just kind of knowing his kind of past and history. So I mean, I knew what he brung to the table, and just seeing it in person. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. Dude's smart. Knows exactly what he's doing. Is in tune to the playbook. So I mean, it's awesome, man.
So Josh, when you signed with the Titans, they had A.J. Brown, who is emerging as a great player in this league, but a lot of questions after that, and then the Julio Jones trade is made. So from your perspective, obviously that changes how the offense looks, how the receiver room looks. From your perspective, was that more like, okay, so that maybe that's fewer opportunities, or, well, gosh, with AJ and Julio, what kind of matchups am I going to be looking at? Like, how do you view it from that perspective?
Well, first most, I was just excited to be able to kind of get to learn from a bigger body receiver since coming in the league, and so I was ecstatic when we got that news, because now I'm able to learn from one of the best, and so that was a positive for me. But I mean, in a whole, as far as that whole thing, man, I mean, being able to find a guy like Julio, man, it's game changing, to your team. So he's the kind of guy that'll change the atmosphere around the locker room and stuff like that. So I think he was a great pickup.
Titans wide receiver Josh Reynolds on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So, Josh, you mentioned Texas A&M, obviously very near and dear to your heart. A good season a year ago. Do you think this could be the year that Texas A&M finds their way into the college football playoff? What do you make of the group that Jimbo Fisher's put together this year?
I think it's early to call, man, but I can tell you what, they got some talent over there. I'm excited to see what the quarterback situation is going to look like. How he's kind of gonna grow into that role, and how the team's gonna grow, losing all the guys they did last year. So I'm excited to see what they got for us.
I just thought about this. Like this, will this be the Sunday? Will this be the first Texas A&M receiver thrown to a Texas A&M receiver in NFL history? That it might be, right?
I think so.
Well, when that happens, Josh, you guys are playing an interesting Arizona team. And I know it's hard. First of all, week one, you don't have film from this team, obviously this season, but a lot of their personnel. And Malcolm Butler, a guy people around here know well, unfortunately had to retire recently. Budda Baker, a great player at safety. How do you view the matchup with them in terms of your pass offense and their pass defense?
Oh, well, they're a team that me coming from the Rams, I've seen quite a bit through my years. So their defense I'm pretty familiar with. A couple new faces, but I think we match up good, man. It's gonna be a great game. They got we just got to execute our plays and eliminate the bad. So I think if we do that, then we got a great chance of winning.
Well, Josh, speaking of defense, what do you make of your guys and your side of the ball on defense here with the Titans in terms of having to go up against them in practice every day and a lot of new faces on that side of the ball as well? What do you kind of think of your guys on defense as you head into this matchup?
I think since camp they've been growing, man. They've been adapting to the new scheme that they've been putting in. So it's going to be fun to watch this year, man. It's been fun to go against them during camp and see the progress they've been making as far as playing together as a defense. So we'll see what happens this year, and I'm excited for them.
So, Josh, we've made a lot in the media and asked a lot of questions, in terms of how much practice does an offense need together? Like how much chemistry does Tannehill need to build, especially with newer guys, with Julio, with you. Obviously, he's thrown to AJ a lot and Ferkser and some of those other guys. Do you feel like that, like the specifics are in good shape right now, just the little nuances? And is it fair to say, like, after, a few games that might get a lot better, or do you guys think it's just ready to rock right now?
I think we're ready to rock right now, but as the season goes on, it only can get better or only can get worse. And since we're kind of in the industry of getting better every day, man, I would assume that it get better as the season progresses.
Titans wide receiver Josh Reynolds has been our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Josh, really appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. Good luck on Sunday against Arizona, and we'll talk to you down the road, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Josh Reynolds, Titans wide receiver, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll come back. We'll react to what was a lot in that segment. Had Rick Stockstill, had Josh Reynolds. Take it any way you want to take it on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Don't miss the 2021 Middle Tennessee Highland Games Celtic Festival Saturday, September the 11th. That is this Saturday at Percy Warner Park. A fun-filled day full of Celtic games, children's activities, Celtic music, food, Scottish and Irish dancers, local and regional vendors, and much more. Tickets are on sale now, and you can visit mid10games.com for more details. Once again, that's mid10games.com. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Visit volstatebank.com to learn more about our free Kasasa checking account. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Going to be joined to begin the 8 o'clock hour by former Tennessee Titan Zach Piller. So looking forward to that conversation coming up here in about 7 minutes or so. What'd you think of Josh Reynolds there? Some interesting comments about this Titans offense. They're looking dangerous out there. I got a little Baker Mayfield vibe to me there. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, we've already got Dennis with the meme. Is that the meme? Is that a meme? That's a meme. With Josh Reynolds is looking dangerous.
Looking dangerous.
It was good. It was interesting stuff, and I think he hit on something that it has been talked about so much, right? What you got?
Our buddy Luke Worsham on Twitter says. Of your quote of Josh Reynolds saying the Achilles isn't 100%, but definitely going in the right direction, Luke Worsham says, but does he expect Arizona to cooperate?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Luke.
Get back at it on Twitter today.
Luke, go back to asking 7-minute questions that get Mike Vrabel all upset, okay? I gave that tweet a like. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Luke. But, yes, Reynolds, on the whole question of chemistry, because it's been asked so much. And it's been asked about Julio. But really, Reynolds is kind of the same thing. Reynolds was brought in here to be a key part of this offense and has not been out there a ton. So it's both of those guys. And especially now with Marcus Johnson on IR, I think Chester Rogers is a factor Sunday. But Josh Reynolds should be too. It's not great that he's not 100%. But again, I will say, just naked eye, just like watching AJ and Julio the other day, he seems to be running well, and he is a guy who can vertically, beat a defense and can certainly take advantage of the matchups that he's going to get. He's got to be, you got to be excited if you're him to be in this offense.
Jacob on Periscope says, should have asked him if he felt explosive. That's a misstep on our part. Little Josh Reynolds explosion. You remember the video Koharski put out there of him not looking explosive?
See,
we should have asked.
How do I forget these things so quickly?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Non-explosive, and then that's when AJ got a little angry about that. Yes, missed opportunity. I guess we have to ask everybody now if the opponent's going to cooperate too.
Yes. Yeah. Do you expect the Arizona Cardinals to cooperate and lose on Sunday?
Yeah.
My answer would be no. I do not expect them to cooperate on that front.
I'll tell you what, though.
Titans are going to have to take it.
And we're going to talk about it later, but that's the area if you're the Titans. You look at their corners, You look at the Titans receivers, you look at the Cardinals corners. And if you're Cardinals, you're saying, boy, do we have to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, look, they've got some guys. J.J. Watt,
do.
Chandler Jones. They've got the ability to get there. Now, both of those guys I just mentioned either are on the back part of their career or are coming off a pretty big injury. So can they still be the same player?
That's why, it might not be a bad thing to play Arizona in Week 8 versus Week 1.
Yeah.
This might be as good as they'll be this year.
Maybe so.
But the corners, I don't know. I don't know how good their best is. Malcolm Butler was already going to be, he's on. There's a reason the Titans let him walk, right?
Sure.
And I by the way, I still haven't really heard what all the deal is with him.
Nope.
But that stinks, and I hope he's okay. From the football perspective for the Cardinals, that's you're downgrading from Malcolm Butler at corner. That's not encouraging.
No, it is not. That's good. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Titans offensive guard Zach Piller. Looking forward to that conversation coming up on the other side of the break. Your favorite game, Silly Underdog Picks, is back. Get your friends or family and play as a group and sign up to play today. Pick the 3 football underdog teams you think will win each week for a chance to win weekly prizes like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com or the ESPN The Game Nashville mobile app and sign up and play now. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. We'll be right back with Zach Piller here on Robby and Rexrode, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we are pleased to go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and bring in former Tennessee Titans offensive lineman Zach Piller. Zach, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to join us. So, Zach, I wanted to start with we've talked a lot on the show about this Titans team and the excitement level from the fan base and how maybe this is as excited for a season as a fan base has been since the early 2000s. Take us back kind of to that time. What do you remember about this team, this city, in terms of the excitement level to have football here in Nashville and what that environment was like at that time at what was called Adelphia Coliseum?
Wow, that was a long time ago. But super exciting. Obviously, I was drafted in the 99 class, which was the first year of the Titans, officially the Tennessee Titans. And Nashville's changed completely. I mean, it was a small town, and it was an exciting time. Javon Kirsch was the first-round pick. And we had a lot of great leaders with Steve McNair and Eddie George and Bruce Matthews, Frank Wycheck, Randall Godfrey. I mean, you could keep going. And Lane Bishop. I mean, that team was there was a bunch of guys that had transitioned from Houston and then to Memphis and Vanderbilt. And it was just great to finally have a place to call home, which was Adelphia. And the fans were incredible. I mean, it was a college atmosphere in a pro stadium, and that was super cool. And obviously, we gave them. I know we were undefeated that season, and we had the best home field in the league, and it just gave us a big time edge for sure.
Yeah, and you followed along closely since then, Zach. Obviously, this is potentially a really good team. It's been a good team for a few years now. It hasn't quite come back, in the stands. Obviously, you can take last year out of the equation, but now fans are coming back this year. What do you think about – what's your sense, first of all, for just the excitement in the city for this team, and do you think they can get it back to that kind of atmosphere that you had as a player?
I think this year's team. I mean, COVID's been a really hard situation for everyone around the world, in this country, in this state, schools, all the above. I think that we got an exciting team. I think that Tannehill's great. Obviously, King Henry is awesome. I think we've really improved on our defense, which is what we needed to do. Vrabel is as good a coach as there is in the NFL. We lost Arthur Smith, obviously, to the Falcons, who was a great offensive coordinator. But there should be a lot of excitement. Julio Jones coming in, is going to be big for us as long as he stays healthy. Points should be able to be scored, and, we need our defense to, pressure the quarterback and do what you're supposed to do. It's a long season. It's a tough schedule. You kind of have to take it, at least how we used to take it, is you kind of take it in 4 quarters. So, I guess it's 17 games now. So we would take the first 4 games and see where you're at, obviously 1 game at a time. But you want to start off hot. You want to be at least 2-2, 3-1, and at least, make the second 4 in your schedule have purpose, and then you just kind of take it. It's a grind, so you got to have you're kind of relieved when you win, and obviously you're crushed when you lose. Frank Wycheck and I always used to say we were never happy when we made a good play. We were just relieved that we didn't make a bad one.
Zach Piller, former Titans
pressure.
Lineman on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Sorry, Zach. I was just going to ask you. You brought up Frank Wycheck there, and obviously that core of that 99, 2000, 2001 Titans team, where there was just so many good memories here at Adelphia Coliseum and with the Titans. What do you remember about that group specifically in terms of when you're first breaking into the league, the immediate success that you have in your first year, obviously another 13-3 season, your second year in the league as well? What was it like to come into the league with a team that was that well prepared and that equipped to make some deep runs?
Well, you just realize that, you're not – you just have to be a professional, I mean, you just really have to you got to get on board or you're done. So, you know, that's what you had to do. And you had a lot of great leaders. And, you know, when your best players are your best leaders, that makes a huge difference. You know, Eddie George was as hard a worker, you know, on and off the field as there was. And, you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to let the other people on either side of you in the locker room down. And you don't want to let your coaches down. I mean, it's just all about accountability and being a professional and making sure that if something happens, if somebody goes down, if you got to fill in, if you got to play, or, you know, if you're a starter, that you're accountable and the guys are counting on you, and you have to step up, and you got to produce. You know, you got to produce. And there was a lot of pressure. There's always a lot of pressure, but, you know, it's so much fun to win, and it's so much fun when games count, and when you get later in the year and you can look at the standings, and, you know, at the end of the day, you're in it to win. You're not in it to, you know, play close games and make money. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, that happens. You know, you're in the NFL, you're gonna make money, but at the end of the day, we're all in it to try to win championships. And, you know, it's crazier. The older I get, the more I literally sit around and I'm like, damn, what would have happened if we would have won the Super Bowl? You know, we were so close, and it's weird how I have friends that have won Super Bowls, you know, over the course of time, and I don't know, they have a little bit more swag to them than you know, just the ultimate goal. I mean, could you imagine? So, I mean, I remember sitting around talking to Steve, you know, all the time when we would have disappointing losses in the playoffs, and, you know, I would really have to, like, talk to him and be like, dude, we're going to get one. You're coming back, you know, because you pour your heart and soul into something, and then it's so heartbreaking when it's over, because, you know, once you hit the playoffs, and I know that's a long ways off from right now, but once you hit those playoffs, you know, you expect to win the Super Bowl. You know, you're in the show. So then when it's like, oh my gosh, it's over, I'm never going to see, you know, these 53 guys again. It's going to be a whole new roster. I'm not going to have these relationships, and so it gets really depressing. But at the end of the day, this year's Titan team is going to go, you know, confidence is huge. Keith Bullock used to have something in his locker that said, confidence is like money, hard to get and easy to lose. And, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, every team is extremely talented, and it literally a lot of times can come down to, you know, a fumble here, a drop pass, a pass interference. I mean, it comes down to 3 or 4 plays a game, and then all of a sudden, if those breaks are going your way, you know, then it snowballs in a positive, and then it can also go the other way. You know, all of a sudden you're not catching a couple breaks. Then all of a sudden you lose a couple close games because you haven't learned how to win. So Titans need to start hot, you know, gain the confidence. This week, obviously, is huge. I mean, we're at home. You want to start off 1-0. I mean, you got a really good opponent coming in with Arizona, and you just need to, you know, use the crowd to your advantage and get off to a hot early start and let the Cardinals know, you know, they're in for a war, and they're not going to come in here and steal one from us.
So, Zach, I got to ask you a couple non-football questions. First of all, you mentioned COVID, and I know, you know, your businesses, like every, not just here, but, you know, around the world, and it was a challenge. How are you there right now? And then also, I know you were a good, you know, football player at Florida for Steve Spurrier, a good NFL player, but I think the athlete of the family is Zoe Piller. We can both agree on this. How's she doing? She's going to be playing at Western Florida this year, right?
Yeah, she's at West Florida in Pensacola. It's a D2 school, and she came off she tore her ACL and meniscus her sophomore year, but, you know, like her dad, Dr. Elrod, did surgery for her, and she's recovered, and she's down there doing good and adjusting to college. And as far as our bars, they're neighbors, Germantown, which is a great sports bar. You know, COVID was an adjustment, You know, we were limited to capacity and times. We followed all the rules, masked up, and you know, we had also gotten hit by the tornado. We had one in Sylvan Park that was shut down for a long time. And, you know, we were, my wife did an incredible job of, we paid all our employees throughout. We did whatever it took. And it's been hard. It's been super hard. But all we do is look forward. We don't look back. And we're going to do the best we can.
Well, Zach, we appreciate you taking time to join us here today on the show, providing your perspective, and thanks so much. Hope to talk to you again soon down the road.
Hey, thanks for having me. I want to say hello to my little man in second grade, heading to school right now, Axel. I hope he's learned his spelling words.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Very nicely done. I like that. Appreciate you so much, Zach.
All right,
Thanks,
you
man.
guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Bye-bye.
You as well. Former Titan Zach Piller on the line with us there as our guest. Robby and Rexrode. Great stuff from Zach Piller there. So we'll come back. We'll react a little bit to what Zach had to say there on that front. Take your thoughts as well on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Attention men, have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, if you have, Hillside Medical Clinic has a breakthrough treatment for ED that does not require any pills, injections, or surgery. And right now, Andrew joins me to tell us all about it. Andrew, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, that's right. If you're out there struggling with ED, frustrated in the bedroom, you need to know about Hillside Medical Clinic and our WAVE technology. This is clinically proven to open up and regrow blood vessels and improve circulation enough that we can get rid of the ED finally. No pills, no injections, and no surgery.
This sounds like a game changer in the bedroom. What kinds of clinical studies have been done on this, Andrew?
Well, if you go to hillsidemedicalclinic.com, you can read almost 50 clinical studies now backing our technology, including from Cambridge University. Most people have heard of them. They vetted this. It was proven to be safe, effective, and it's even been called the new standard of care for erectile dysfunction.
And I hear you have a special offer if our listeners call in right now.
We certainly do. If you want to improve performance in the bedroom, get the intimacy back, guys, call us now. We're running a special. The initial assessment exam and blood flow ultrasound will be free, and you get a gift. You'll love this. It produces immediate results in the bedroom. $500 in value. We're doing it free to those that call now.
Andrew, appreciate you so much. And you heard it, guys. You can put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for that offer. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your ED and regain your love life. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now at 615-576-5000. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank, now with 2 locations in Murfreesboro. You can visit our brand new Murfreesboro location at 2019 Memorial Boulevard. Volunteer State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Thanks to Zach Piller for joining us in the last segment. I like me some Zach Piller. That guy can talk some football. I like that.
Yeah, and like I've said, I brought up Zoe, who was a great player for Nolensville High School. Great player. A fiery, athletic post. But if you can get Zach Piller, if you can be in an arena with Zach Piller watching one of his kids play sports, well worth your time.
I would say so. I've heard some good stories.
Good times.
That's all right.
And, as he mentioned, little Axel.
Yeah.
So, the Axel, as he grows up, it's like it might be like just a ticket. You buy tickets to Nolensville, and I'm being a booster for Nolensville Athletics right now, but just to watch Axel play.
Well,
so Zach will be there.
That's right.
And it'll be fun.
Big day with the spelling test, too. I remember those days. I look forward to spelling test day. I was good at the spelling test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was awful.
It was a strength of mine.
Yeah, I was pretty good, too. I was very disappointed that Brennan doesn't know the difference between your and your as he tried to talk trash in the fantasy football. So apparently I failed as a father, but I could spell pretty well.
You did very well.
Ultimately, it's really about yourself, isn't it, in this world?
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares about other people?
That's right. Joe, we discussed it earlier in the show, the Titans injury report coming out yesterday, and David Long on the injury report for the hamstring injury, a limited participant. Chris Jackson as well, a limited participant with a hamstring injury. And A.J. Brown on the injury report as well with a knee injury. He did not participate in practice yesterday. And obviously, that had some Titans fans a little uneasy when you think about A.J. Brown having surgery on his knees in the offseason. Obviously, he played through some knee injuries last year. Played very well, mind you, through some knee injuries last year. But this has become a consistent talking point with A.J. Brown. And here we are a few days before their Week 1 matchup against Arizona. And A.J. Brown, once again, is on the injury report with a knee injury. I guess if you're a Titans fan, and we'll take this kind of from 2 different areas. Let's start with the short term. Is this a concern at all to you if you're a Titans fan in the short term in terms of what this could mean for this team this season with A.J. Brown once again on the injury report?
Well, get back to me this afternoon on that. I would expect him to be back in the practice mix today. I think if he misses both of the key practices in preparation for the Cardinals, Wednesday and Thursday, that's not good. Now, if he's back today, and the other piece of information we have this week is that he looked great Monday in the viewing period, which is the beginning of practice. It was, I think, like the first 2 periods, some individual drills, but still out there running great, nothing on either knee, all that stuff. So if he's back today, then I think you can look at yesterday like I think it is, which is let's start right now. You got to play in long term and a little bit less wear and tear on a weekly basis for the knee is a good idea. If he's not out there today, then I think you can go ahead and just smash that panic button. Smash it. Just imagine the panic. Just imagine Jared today. 4 hours of just hammering it.
Well, maybe so. We'll see what happens.
But look, it's not good if he's not out there today. I think he will be.
I would be concerned if he's not. And to that point, that kind of leads me to the long-term view of this because, A.J. Brown, obviously, he's a very important player for the Titans, not only right now, but as they continue to move forward. He's 24. So you're talking about a 24-year-old kid that has been extremely productive in his first 2 years in the league. At some point in the not-too-distant future, A.J. Brown's going to get a new contract, and A.J. Brown's going to make a lot of money. What you don't want to have happen if you're the Titans is A.J. Brown makes a lot of money, gets here with the Titans, and a year into that deal, A.J. Brown's not the same player because he's had knee problems. That's what, if you're John Robinson and the Titans, you cannot afford to have happen because that's bad news if it comes down to that. So how concerned are you long-term, even at the age of 24, that the knee continues to crop up and be somewhat of an issue for A.J. Brown, even though, to his credit, he got on the field last year and played really well.
Yeah, it has to be some concern. I also would say with a conversation like this, when you don't know the specifics, there can be such a wide range with a knee thing. I mean, it seemed to me like the surgery, and I guess it was both knees, right?
Yeah.
That's what he said in the video in the hospital. And it seemed to me more like scopes, so cleaning out some stuff, which, like, that doesn't necessarily have to be a big deal. I mean, if you have to have, like, microfracture surgery or something, then that is a massive deal.
Oh, yeah.
And the ACL is less of a big deal now, and it's not that. The shape of the meniscus. I mean, I'm being like Dr. Nick Riviera here now, on the internet. But I do know that, like, there's a huge range of what it could be. And if it was just scopes and it's just sort of that kind of thing too, like maybe he could use a scope, he'll probably have to get it scoped again at the end of the year. That's not a huge deal. Now you get the word degenerative out there, and I'm not applying that to this situation. I'm just saying, like, that's the
wide
range.
Yeah.
So I can't say there's no concern. I don't think it's great that he had the surgeries and then the first few days of camp he was out there doing everything and he looked awesome. He looked unstoppable. And then he wasn't out there much. And I didn't expect him to be out there much in the preseason games, but even practice. That tells you it was more than just, okay, let's take some time, let's maintenance. Like, Vrabel gives everybody some days off. But this was not that. This was more than that. And that's not great. So how does it affect this year? We'll see. Again, I think today helps tell that story. Long term, I mean, it still could just be, okay, another scope, and then all of a sudden you don't have problems ever again. That's possible.
Wouldn't it be nice, though, to see what he can do as, like, a fully healthy player? Like,
right.
Obviously, we saw it his rookie year. He was healthy. But it's his rookie year. He was really good, but, I mean, he's improved pretty dramatically since then. I mean, I watched A.J. Brown last year carry half of the roster of Baltimore into the end zone on 2 hurt knees.
Exactly.
I would really like to see what A.J. Brown can do when he's fully healthy. I mean, that would be, if I'm a Titans fan, something that I really want to see this year. And if he can get to a point where he's fully healthy and look like he looked at the beginning of training camp, to me, that's very good news if you're the Tennessee Titans. And I would love to see that.
Well, exactly. No, I mean, and the thing is, it's funny because last year it was clear there was a knee thing in camp, but then during the season I actually thought it was a foot or ankle too. I think that was in there somewhere.
Yep.
So throw that on top of whatever was going on with the knees, and he's still out there killing people. I mean, yeah, it's you hope to see him healthy. And again, if there's certainty that, like, this is not a big deal or a thing that's going to sort of plague his career long term, he's going to get paid and then some.
Yeah.
And the Titans have got to keep him.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a big year on that front too, along with everything else going on.
Tomorrow, it's your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Click, brought to you by Camarena Tequila. If you guess correctly which player scores a goal in the game this Saturday, you win a prize pack and a 4-pack of tickets to an upcoming Nashville SC home game. You'll have your chance to participate tomorrow morning at 9:45 here on Robby and Rexrode. When we come back, we'll continue to look ahead to Week 1 for the Titans against the Arizona Cardinals, including a couple of big question marks for both teams. We'll get to more of that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Save cash with a purchase of a $10 gift card for Retro Snow for only $5. Nashville's original shaved ice truck, bringing back snowballs with creativity and pure cane sugar, dreaming up new flavor combinations and adding fresh, delicious toppings is what makes us Retro Snow and Nashville's original shaved ice truck. Go to visit their first ever permanent location in the nations at 806 51st Avenue North, open Friday 4 to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 7 p.m. Check out Retro Snow's truck schedule at retrosnowtruck.com. Other deals include half off a $50 gift card for Fat Cat Slims and half off a $25 gift card for Joyland in East Nashville. Get your deal now while they last at theGameNashville.com/deals. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Looking ahead to the game coming up on Sunday between the Titans and the Cardinals. And, Joe, a couple of big question marks, I think, for both teams entering into this game. And we'll start with the Titans. And we brought it up a little bit yesterday, but that is the position battle at right tackle. We don't know exactly how that's going to play out at this point for the Titans. Going to be interesting to see who is starting at right tackle for the Titans once they run out of the tunnel on Sunday against Arizona. But I think you feel okay at least about the rotation and maybe the depth that they have at the tackle position based on what guys like Sombrilo and Quesenberry did last year for the Titans and Kendall Lamb coming in as well. I guess if you had to rate it 1 through 10, what is your concern level about the right tackle spot for the Titans as they enter into this season, knowing that they spent a second-round pick to address that spot? That's not happened up until this point, and it's basically down to those three guys I just mentioned.
It's I wouldn't call it high, but I wouldn't call the comfort level high either. I mean, I think it's sort of – I think the good thing is you do have options. And I really thought Tyson Sombrilo – oh, by the way, before I go any further, we need to have an intervention with Nashville media.
We're struggling to say Sombrilo.
I mean, Glennon and a bunch of people keep saying Sombrilo. It's – I mean, like the Titans have the pronunciation spelled out for you. It's Tyson Sombrilo, even though it's AI.
Yeah.
This is how –
we're right.
Yes, we're right. So just please, Nashville media, let's not make this another Mariota, okay? I feel like Nashville media got pretty good at Mariota.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we still have some issues with like UC Saros, you know.
Let's bring in Bradford.
But, yeah, Tyson Sombrilo. Tyson Sombrilo was pretty good last year at left tackle in Taylor Lewan's in the wake of the injury. And then David Quesenberry was pretty good in place of Sombrilo after his injury, and that's at left tackle. And then Kendall Lamb has been a serviceable, mostly a backup, but
soft
a serviceable player. He can catch the ball. So I guess like you feel good about you have some depth, you have options, you can switch out, and that's the thing, is Vrabel is kind of hinting at, I don't know about like experimenting or rotating, but certainly he's not committing to anyone as the starting right tackle right now. It's one of those things where if you could combine the strengths of the three, you'd probably have a heck of a tackle, you know. But are you going to find a clear winner in that race and someone you feel good about to complete the line, which otherwise I think is really good? And also, by the way, we've been talking about right tackle and three different people, and one of them is not the second-round pick drafted to be the right tackle. But that's on the back burner. You know, now it's who on Sunday can go out there and play well for you. I will say that just with Sombrilo and Quesenberry in particular, what they did in a pinch last year makes me think they can be okay.
Yeah. Look, I think there's reasons for optimism. Like, I don't look at this situation at right tackle coming into this game and thinking to myself, oh boy, the Titans got a big problem at right tackle. Like, I don't view it that way. Now, am I as comfortable with those guys as I was with a Dennis Kelly at right tackle? I don't know that I'm willing to go there yet. I thought Dennis Kelly did a nice job at right tackle. Obviously, I mean, we're very far away from Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin was in a class of his own when it comes to this discussion. But, I don't think that David Quesenberry starting at right tackle is going to derail this Titans offensive line. I still think this has a chance. If you can maintain a certain degree of health, I think this has a chance to be a pretty good Titans offensive line. So, I would say on my concern level, it's about a 3. I'm not overly that concerned about it. But what starts to become a problem is if you start to get some injuries and you've got to shuffle some guys around, and heaven forbid, Taylor Lewan goes down again, you got to move somebody else to left tackle, then that's where you really got a problem. And that's of course. But I'm just saying, like from a depth perspective, I don't feel great about the depth on the interior of the offensive line. And if somebody in that starting 5 gets hurt and you start to have to shuffle some people around, that's when I start to get concerned about this group. And it's the NFL. It's the offensive line. People get hurt all the time. At some point this year, something's going to happen on that offensive line, and I'm interested to see how much depth they've truly got at that spot.
Yeah, and then in this matchup, it's not – there are better matchups to have for an offensive line still kind of figuring out one of its tackle spots than this one.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about earlier in the show, J.J. Watt, he's not to me worth what they paid him. But I bet you you notice him on Sunday. And Chandler Jones, that's a really appealing older / coming off an injury, but still potentially explosive duo rushing the passer. And it's an interesting kind of matchup thing because the Titans have to be concerned about that, and the Cards have to hope that really is a big benefit to them, because the Cards have to be concerned about their corners and the Titans' receivers.
Well, and to that point, you have no Malcolm Butler coming on Sunday. Byron Murphy Jr., Robert Alford listed as the starting corners on the Arizona depth chart. So, that's something. If you're the Titans and your offensive line can hold up, I think you feel to a certain degree pretty good about A.J. Brown, Julio Jones against anybody. Doesn't matter who the cornerback is. But I think you really feel good about this matchup, that you're able to move the ball. And two, like, if you know that, if you're Arizona coming into this game, like, how do you play against the Titans? That goes back to the discussion we were having the other day. Like, what's your game plan against this Titans offense? Because obviously, and J.J. Watt's had a front row seat for Derrick Henry running all over the Houston Texans. You know what he can do. How do you go about defending this Titans offense if you're Arizona's defense, knowing that those corners, if you leave them on an island with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, that could end up working out very poorly for you in this game.
Right. You have a great safety in Budda Baker, but, yeah, how do you play it? And I look at Arizona. I like what they've done here in trying to build a 2020s defense in the NFL. I think Zaven Collins is a really good player for Tulsa. Isaiah Simmons, they've got good speed at linebacker. We saw what that can do, for the Bucs, right? People probably focus less on like inside linebackers than anything anymore.
Yep.
But when you have guys who can run, who can cover, who can blitz, who can do different things, and you can be flexible because of that, I think that's great in the NFL. But then you look at the Titans, and how does that front, deal with the hammer coming at it all day too? So you have that. Like, do you have to just devote extra safety attention to the box because you aren't really built? But who is built anymore to deal with a run-based offense in the NFL? Not many teams, but this one in particular, this is I think like a fast defense. It could be a pretty good defense, but what do they do? What do they need to do to not get run all over? And then how much are they willing to let those corners be on islands because of that? It's like it does. Like, I don't like them. I don't like them in this matchup defensively. But like, there's some good players, but this is gonna be the thing every week. Like every defense on the Titans schedule, even the really, really good ones, still have to make choices that aren't comfortable.
Well, and to your point about inside linebacker, you've made a couple of moves there to address that spot. If you're Arizona the last couple of years, Isaiah Simmons, obviously Zaven Collins, who you brought up as well. So you're young in that area too, and we've seen it here with the Titans. Like sometimes, the physical talent that you bring to the table is one thing, but recognizing coverages, where you're supposed to be, playing at that speed without having to think a lot, that can be difficult to do early in the NFL. And if you're the Titans, it's a pretty good offense to try to take advantage of that if you're Todd Downing in week one.
Yeah. I mean, it's still like in this league, all the jargon and the different systems and stuff, it really is like what individual matchup benefits us.
Yep.
How can we get to this matchup? And the Titans have a few choices here that have got to look pretty good to them. And again, it is a different – I mean, there's a thing with the season opener where you have some players – and Mike Vrabel talked about this yesterday. You've got to go off like individual film on some guys and tendencies from college or, maybe guys who weren't with this defense but were veterans. Obviously the Titans know J.J. Watt. But they still haven't seen this defense collectively together, just like the Cards haven't seen the Titans defense in this exact form. But, I mean, on an individual basis – there are some mismatches here in the Titans' favor.
Let's go back to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Jim texting in, are you aware of any offensive lineman worth picking up that J-Rob could snag after the first week of the season? So we've had a lot of people ask us about this. With moving around some money for Julio Jones, does that mean the Titans are about to make a move after week one and bring somebody in? I guess my answer to that is I don't know. We'll see what happens on that front. But is there anybody out there that you think could be worth snagging up if you're the Titans, if you're John Robinson after week one? Because at this point, it's not happening for this week.
Right, and we went through yesterday some of the possibilities if you want to talk about, offensive linemen. You got maybe Mitchell Schwartz has been a good player. Injuries, 32 years old. He's out of Kansas City. Russell Okung, same thing, 32 years old. I mean, you got a guy who played for your squad. Rick Wagner's out there, so there's some David DeCastro, was a good player. These people are all in their 30s. And look, I'm not saying that one of them couldn't be an upgrade, but I don't know if there's any great options there.
Doesn't it kind of make the Dennis Kelly move, which we were a little bit skeptical about at the time? Doesn't that still seem kind of weird? Like, it seems like Dennis Kelly could really help this team right now.
Yeah, I think he did. He was another one of those guys last year who missed a fair amount of practice and got increasingly banged up during the year. So I don't know if it's a matter of they just weren't sure about his health holding up. But, yeah, I mean, I thought Dennis Kelly was pretty good. He was a heck of a swing tackle for those years when they still had Conklin. Like, that's exactly what you want. Heck of a trade. But I kind of get it. It's just, the question is, are you going to be better or comparable with a Sombrilo, a Quessenberry, maybe a Lamb? I don't know. Like, Lamb, it's hard to know with him, too, because, he missed some time in camp. And, gosh, he's got that massive elbow brace with a really just hard injury to even look at, from the playoffs. So, but yeah, I hear you. It seems like Dennis Kelly would give you a little more certainty at that spot. And then they draft to it, and that right now is not materializing as any kind of help.
When we come back, it's time for the best and worst thing in sports for this week. We'll take your submissions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025, The Game. Oh, yeah, that time of the week here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Time for the best thing in sports and the worst thing in sports for this week. We'll take your submissions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, would you like to begin this week? And we'll begin as we always do with the best thing in sports. What is the best thing in sports this week, according to Joe Rexrode?
I will start. And there's one that I think you guys will grab, so I'm going to be a little bit.
Okay. Team player?
Well, yeah, I had a little bit different one. And this was within the week, right? If not, whatever. It hasn't been a best thing. It's close enough.
Okay.
The Olympics having NHL players is my best thing.
Yeah, that's
counts. Within the week.
That's within the
right?
week. Yeah.
Yes. Old brain. I think it's just we've talked about it, and it looked a little shaky for a while. It means so much. I've heard David Poyle and other executives in hockey kind of question what is the tangible value. I think it's extremely high. I think the value for the sport, for eyeballs on the sport, for getting people talking, getting people excited about these rosters and these teams, I think it's fantastically helpful to the sport. I think it's huge for the sport, and I'm excited about it. And as a secondary part of that, John Hines getting to be an assistant.
Yeah.
Big deal for him. Congratulations to him. I do wonder, we don't have time to get into this right now, but I do wonder, like, Preds fans, when you see that John Hines gets an honor like that, does that give you any sort of better feeling about John Hines?
That's an interesting question, because I saw some of the Twitter replies when he was named as the assistant coach.
Of course.
And Twitter's a wonderful place.
There's always going to be Twitter replies.
Yes.
It's like, hey, like, here's I don't know, like Mother Teresa's here. Oh, God, she's the worst.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, Twitter's going to Twitter.
Twitter's going to Twitter. That's what we've learned so far. That's a good one. I like that one. Well done, Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic, your best thing this week in the world of sports.
Okay, so other than NFL, I feel like we've done, like college football, the best thing, NFL, the best thing. Obviously, football's here. It's the best thing. But I don't know if anybody's been watching Hard Knocks lately. There was this really funny clip that just made me smile from ear to ear. I'm going to play a little sound from it. So it's Trayvon Diggs' son, Aiden.
It's awesome.
And I'm going to play it right now. Let's see. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious because in the beginning of the clip, he's talking about Dak Prescott's my favorite quarterback. Oh, yeah. I'm training for Dak Prescott. This kid's probably 4 years old. And then he comes through the door and he's like, hey, you're Patrick Mahomes. I just thought that was great. That was golden content.
Well, the best part is like stuff. 2 times in a row. Dak Prescott, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. That's outstanding. I'm out on Hard Knocks, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But that actually made me think, might be all right, worth checking out again.
Go HBO Max, buy it.
That's
again.
right.
Just the show it used to be way better. But anyway, another thing we don't have time.
Every time he completes a pass tonight, there's going to be somebody that tweets out, like, Dak Prescott, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to that tonight.
That was great.
That is my best thing in sports tonight, the NFL being back, but more specifically, Tom Brady is back. And I don't know if you saw this last week, but it came out as a clip, and I think it was Gronk was a part of this, and Brady was a part of this as well on the Bucs website. They were doing an interview, and Brady talked about like the league and how it's changed and how he feels like defensive players are getting punished for offensive players' mistakes now.
It was very good.
I thought it was really good. Like, it was a pretty good indicator of the way the league has changed, throwing penalty flags and calling. We talked a lot about targeting this week and how sometimes the offensive player can be the one that makes the mistake, but just because it ends up in them getting hit really hard, that gets taken out on the defensive players. It's good stuff from Tom Brady.
That was really good. Yeah, sort of the idea, like quarterbacks used to have to, you have to think about protecting your players.
Right.
And obviously that helps balance things out between the offense and defense. And now it's just like either they're not going to – you still have to think that way as a quarterback. You can't throw guys in a crossing pattern, but now either they're not going to hit him or it's going to be big trouble.
Well, and he talked about even it creating bad habits with offensive players because they know if they get hit that way, it's going to be a penalty, so they just don't slide or they do whatever they want to do, and they think they can get away with it.
Yeah.
So
that was very good.
Interesting stuff from the GOAT. Tom Brady there.
Whatever he touches turns to gold,
That's
man.
right. Joe Rexrode, your worst thing in sports for the week.
This could be a whole rant. I'll try to keep it short. So Charles Robinson, everybody knows, I went to college with Charles Robinson. I'm good friends with him, like Charles Robinson, Jamel Hill. I got some people who I'm always going to be in their corner no matter what. And Charles is one of them. And he shouldn't have to be defended on anything. But, like, the amount of hatred he's gotten from the Deshaun Watson stuff from Dolphins fans, to the point where he was on Pat McAfee and Rich Eisen, and, like, they got totally overwhelmed by these Dolphins fans. So my worst thing is the Dolphins fans in this situation, but also just in general, sports fans who can't, like, distinguish between some random thing thrown on the internet or a veteran reporter. Charles goes back to the 90s covering the Lions and then covering the league as a league now for about 18 years, I think. He has sources in the league, folks. So if he writes a story that there's a trade, that the Dolphins are the front runners, are very interested in Deshaun Watson, and that there's a trade, and he even laid out the 5 teams that he's sourced with who are also in the sweepstakes, like, he's not making crap up. It's possible that the Dolphins aren't enamored with Tua, and even if they are, it's not crazy that you would want to trade for Deshaun Watson. The amount of crap he's taking, because normally he doesn't even get in the Twitter stuff, is just it frustrates me. And it's like, be a smarter fan. Understand where the information is coming from, and that if it's someone who has covered the league for, like, going on 2 full decades, they aren't just sitting at home in mom's basement throwing crap on the internet. They are talking to executives for teams.
Very well said.
I got to stop, but anyway.
Very well said. Michelle Konezvic, your worst thing in sports for the week.
Those Miami fans sound like Bills fans.
Wow.
I had to.
Yes.
Worst thing in sports this week. Similar to, I feel like we have a lot of, it's not even really in sports. It's more like Twitter reactions and fans and craziness. But mine came at the beginning of the week when Brian Kelly had his post-game interview. And he made the comment about the execution and everything. And but then later in his press conference was like, guys, it was a joke. Like, did I not do, like, good, whatever? And I get it, people not understanding the joke and making comments. But then I felt like it was on every single network. It was like a headline for all of these sports networks. And I just feel like that's almost like clickbait of like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe he said this. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, this is so awful. And he clearly says, oh, it was a joke. I was referencing the old Bucks coach in his
John
press
McKay.
Yeah, 20 minutes, even probably less than 20 minutes after his post-game interview, but then yet gets so much backlash for it for like almost the 3 days probably.
Not allowed to joke in 2021 anymore.
No.
This doesn't happen. Jokes don't go over well.
So sensitive, people.
That's a good one. Now, it was dumb. Like, his
Yeah,
joke
exactly.
Like, he's not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Because
funny.
it's him. Because he's not funny.
But you're right. The outrage and then the click chasing off of it is like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was on the list of consideration. My worst thing in sports for the week, and look, I want to start by saying I like soccer. I enjoy going to Nashville SC
Get that
games.
disclaimer.
I got to get all the disclaimers in there. I have not really known that much about soccer growing up and have learned quite a bit the last few years and have enjoyed watching the game. it's become something that I enjoy going to. Having said that, I thought it was horrible on Sunday night for the United States and Canada. I really did. The quality of play wasn't good. There was flopping all over the place. And it ends in a draw in an international World Cup qualifying match. Like, you got a World Cup qualifying match. Why is a draw even on the table for a World Cup qualifying match? It's so stupid. You play the game to win or you lose. You're a winner or you're a loser. I can live with a draw in an MLS season. It's a long season. You can't be playing 15 minutes extra of stoppage time all over the place. I get it. But in a World Cup qualifier match, have a winner or have a loser. And I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's penalty kicks. Have a winner, have a loser. It drove me nuts. I felt like I wasted 2 hours of my life on Sunday night at Nissan Stadium.
You play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
That's why I hate soccer games.
1-1
'cause you
draw.
Can tie.
Uh-oh.
Well, I like soccer, but it
so you
really
hate the
bothers
Bills
me.
fans and the sport of soccer.
Yeah.
Wow, the hate list for
I would
Michelle
rather
is really
lose.
growing this week.
I would rather lose than tie,
Wow.
and I hate losing so much.
Yeah, I was telling you guys before the show, if you were my age, you remember when college football had ties all the
So you
time.
couldn't do that.
And actually, like, some of them were also 9-9 ties and stuff.
Again, there are situations. Oh, look, there's not a situation where I like a draw or a tie, but I at least understand it in regular season play because it's a long season. I do not understand it in World Cup qualifiers. Have a winner or have a loser. That's what it is. You're trying to get in the World Cup. That's my worst thing in sports.
Hashtag Rob Rant.
Yeah. That's my worst thing in sports. We'll continue to take your submissions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. When we come back, we'll get back into the Titans, get into an interesting discussion looking at the fan base as they head into week one. How excited is this Titans fan base? Is that going to translate to the atmosphere at Nissan Stadium? We'll get into all that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5. The Game brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions right here. Volunteer State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic in the house today on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, the Titans taking on the Cardinals in week one of what has become a very highly anticipated season for the Titans heading into this 2021 NFL season. Lots of high expectations, especially for this team on offense. And we've talked here on the show, whether it's 2009 or 2003 or 2000, whatever year you want to throw out there of the last time there's been this much hype of a Titans team heading into a season. I think the answer kind of varies a little bit on that depending on who you ask. But regardless, very much hype, very high levels of expectation for this Titans team. And I thought it was interesting, talking to Zach Piller earlier in the show. I asked him about what the atmosphere was like in Nashville when they first got here, and he's right. I mean, the town is totally different. It was a small town back then. There's been a lot of people, as we know, that have moved to Nashville since then. It's got more of a big city feel to it. So it's two different time periods in the history of this city. But there was a time where that place at Adelphia Coliseum was the place to be. And it was, if not the loudest place in the NFL, it was one of the loudest. It was full of Titans fans, and it was a true home field advantage. I feel like for the most part, it's been a while since Nissan Stadium has been a true home field advantage on a consistent basis. I wonder if with this team, with this much hype, if this is the year where maybe that starts to change a little bit and it starts to look more like it looked in the old days where it's full of Titans fans and that place is loud.
You'll be surprised to know I wrote about this today.
Oh, boy. At theathletic.com?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Thank you. It is very interesting. It's a very interesting storyline. First of all, on the question of the most anticipated season since.
Okay.
I want to make sure to get this out there because I know I'm going to take crap from Kaharski today, so I want to preemptively say this. Kaharski, Jimmy Wyatt, and John Glennon all gave me ridiculously wrong answers. I sent out a poll of the veterans, and the veterans, and I didn't hear back from Terry McCormick, but there's 6 veterans. It's like we should do like a poster with these people, They've been with the Titans the whole way. So those 3, Wyatt, Glennon, Kaharski, Teresa Walker, David Beauclair, and Terry McCormick. So Terry McCormick didn't respond, so that's fine. I mean, hey, look, Terry McCormick on Zoom, coming from Jupiter, that's fine. That's we got what we need. But Wyatt, Kaharski, and Glennon all had the answer of most since last year, and they all tried to argue with me. Actually, I think Michelle was there at practice yesterday. I'm screaming at Kaharski.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it.
I said, I feel like I'm watching the movie Cocoon 3, listening to you guys talk about this crap. You got to be kidding me. Like they're actually arguing that last year was more hyped. It was not. It was not. Last year was anticipated. They had Clowney. They'd come off the AFC title run. There were questions about Tannehill. We didn't know that the offense was about to score 31 a game. I think everyone expected them to be a playoff team, and around here, I think we thought they'd win the division.
Yep.
The NFL at large picked the Colts. They were not really considered a top contender, and they were not a fascinating offensive team. We didn't know Derrick Henry was about to run for 2,000. All those things happened. And then you add Julio Jones. And, I mean, these guys are just wrong. So I did not use them in my story. You are invited out of my story. No, thank you. Luckily, we have some smart veterans who had the right answers, like Teresa. She went with 2008. Beauclair went with 2000. And that's kind of – so Beauclair was quoted in the story because he had a right answer. Okay. Beauclair, you confirm my narrative. You're in the story. But seriously, I think that it's clear in all seriousness, and Beauclair made a good point, and this is my point as well all along. It's not just that they are a good team that around the NFL. They're at least considered a pretty safe playoff team. I think they're picked more than not to win the division, but they're actually a team with entertainment value that people want to watch. And even in some of the Titans' great years, that was really not the case, right?
Agreed.
Like, this is a team that people around the NFL are like, man, I'd like to see that offense for a little bit. When has that been the case? I mean, even with Steve McNair and Eddie George, they had great teams. Was that a? I know as a general NFL fan for me back then, I respected the team. It was a good team. I wasn't like, oh man, I gotta flip over and see those guys play.
I would say the last time that the NFL at large really took a heavy interest in watching the Titans offense, obviously when Chris Johnson was doing his thing, but I think more than that, even when Vince Young came in, and his rookie year.
That's great. You're right, and that's where Teresa went with like Chris Johnson. That was going into that great year for him.
Yeah,
I think 08 was both the 2000 and the 13-3. Right? Is that the same year?
No.
He
did 2000 the year after.
The year after he did 2000, but 08 was a great year.
Right.
They had come off a wild card. That's a good point. Those players. I mean, honestly.
But you're talking about individual players there and not an entire offense, right? Like, everybody wants to watch Derrick Henry this year, obviously, but Julio Jones, A.J. Brown.
Obviously.
So they've never had a situation like this on offense, but I would say it's since Chris Johnson was doing his thing, and really, I think even bigger than that was Vince Young in his rookie year. Everybody wanted to watch Vince Young play.
And it's an offense league. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the team that ruined that 2000 team's hopes and won it all was the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, and they were just incredible on D. And I'm going to go back to that time as being a general NFL fan as well in the 2000s. I wasn't like, oh, man, I got to flip over and see some Ray Lewis, some Ed Reed. Hey, great players, but offense sells tickets, brings eyeballs. And the piece I wrote today, there's a lot of data. Now, the Titans aren't giving up, ticket sales. They're saying they're up across the board. Gil Beverly had a Zoom call, but I had a previous interview with Gil Beverly of the Titans about all the data, and Kate Gare also gave me some data that, especially since Julio, all the indications are there is just a lot more interest in this team. And I don't know, you tell me, I feel like around the league, there's just more discussion too. It's not Cowboys level. It's never going to be Cowboys level or Patriots or Bucks with Brady, but I feel like there's definitely a lot more consideration of the Titans. And, again, excitement to see what they will look like Sunday.
Well, I would say so, and not even just for Henry. I mean, look, most of the talk on the NFL Network, which we've got here in the studio every morning on the show, we see the ESPN shows. A lot of it centers around Derrick Henry. Well, I've seen a lot of Ryan Tannehill talk lately. Obviously seen a lot of Julio talk, a lot of A.J. Brown talk. So, I mean, now with players to that level, the Titans have recognizable household names on their team that everybody wants to watch play. So I think you're way more likely this year, if this offense looks like what we expect it could, to see your casual NFL fan and say, ooh, the Titans and Cardinals are playing. Well, I don't really care about either one of those teams, but I'd love to watch that Titans offense. I'm going to watch this game. Whereas in the past, outside of maybe towards the end of last year with Derrick Henry, I'm not sure you're getting much of that from the general NFL audience, like your average NFL fan.
Right. So then there's the average NFL fan, and then there's the again the question of this stadium, the atmosphere, which has been, I think, very good at times. I think the Colts win an in-game, and I mentioned that in the piece. 2018. I think that's the one time I could say that stadium was basically full. There was a little bit in the upper reaches that weren't full, but basically full, and basically full of Titans fans.
But yeah, I hear you, and you're right. That's one game, and it used to be that way all the time.
Right. So can that be allowing somewhat this year for, again, we're in a pandemic still. There are going to be some people who don't go who probably would go otherwise. But for the most part, I think you might see some consistent, pretty full with Titans fans scenes. I don't know, but I suspect that. And I would also say that if it doesn't happen this year, it's awfully tough. How do you get it there?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll continue this discussion when we come back. Got some of your thoughts to get to at our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 1025. Tune in to this weekend's NFL Game of the Week on 1025 The Game, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. This Sunday's NFL Game of the Week, the Cleveland Browns against the Kansas City Chiefs. Coverage begins at 2:45 with a 3:25 p.m. kickoff. We'll be right back. Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. NFL fans, don't miss Nashville's best NFL pregame show live from Rock Bottom Brewery in downtown Nashville this Sunday. The NFL pregame show features Jared Stillman, Mark Howard, and former Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders. Join them from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. live at Rock Bottom Brewery on Broadway prior to the Titans taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The NFL pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank. Visit volstatebank.com to learn more about our free Kasasa checking account, member FDIC, equal housing lender. talking Titans and what the atmosphere could be like this year at Nissan Stadium. Is the hype enough of this team to fill Nissan Stadium, and not only fill it, but fill it with Titans fans? Take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Nate texting in, if fans can't get into the stadium until the second quarter because of Nissan Stadium's lack of efficiency, then the stadium excitement will decline the whole season. I'd rather watch it at home than wait hours to get in to watch a half of football when I paid for two halves.
Yeah. Well, look, there's a lot of obviously valid concerns about the entry. Of course, we're talking about years of discussion of that. And I know things got kind of bad for parts of like the Bears preseason game, but also that was a weird situation as far as I understand with like metal detectors and lightning and whatever. Apparently for the World Cup qualifier, it was very good. You were there. Any issues?
No, it was fine.
Now, it's 40-some thousand people. There will be, I think, quite a few more than that Sunday. So, look, I understand that, but I guess I'd ask back. So, like, do people who are waiting, they just leave? And they bought tickets not. And then, ultimately, the real attendance will at some point be apparent, right? Now, maybe the next game they don't come, but I don't know that. I think it's a totally valid concern, and the Titans have to be better about it and all that. But I don't think ultimately that's the story of whether there is or isn't a great atmosphere in the stadium this year.
Andrew on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 6-year season ticket member. I have more concern of our fair weather fan base coming to the stadium than our team. No clue why Tennesseans just don't care enough to fill up the stadium. The team will do great. Andrew, big believer in the team on the field this year, not much of a believer in the crowd.
So I've been here since 2016, and that season they started to be good, and there were some really good atmospheres. And in fact, when your Packers came into town, but again, lots of Packers fans. There have been some great atmospheres. The Eagles game, was it the next year? Yeah, I think the next year.
Yes.
With Wentz when he was really good, and
that's 2 years later.
Oh no, you're right. It was 18. That was right. That was Vrabel's first year. Yeah, some other great wins, great atmospheres. I mentioned the Colts game. Even late in 2019, I think it got pretty good in there. But you still you can just count like about 10,000 seats that just aren't going to be touched. Yeah, 8,000, 10,000, whatever. It was good atmospheres. But yeah, it's not like it's a huge stadium. It's like 69,000. Can you basically get close to filling that up? And again, can you do it with Titans fans? One thing, you have to always keep in mind two things about this. One, young fan base. It's young. The kids now, it's like they, it's not like this is generational, handed down over decades, grandparents to parents to kids. So that's one thing. And then also, it is going to be, again, it's like when we talk about the Vols, I still will say like 75,000, 80,000 for a college football game for that program. Awfully impressive. Attendance at live sporting events is going one way.
Yep, that's down.
Ohio State has 10,000 tickets for a game against Oregon to open the season. That tells you about all you need to know. So you have to keep those things in mind in context. That said, I think it's appropriate for the fan base to step up.
Well, the thing that gets me, and I hear you because I think you're right. Like, honestly, personally, I love watching NFL Sundays from home because I can flip it around and watch whatever I want to watch, and I can keep up with my fantasy football and all sorts of things. Like, I love that part of it. So, now, don't get me wrong, I love being there too. So, it's not like if offered tickets, I wouldn't go. But I understand why people like watching it at home. But we always talk about how it's just different now, and there's more options at home, and the city's different. And, the newness of it has worn off. The city is also way bigger than it used to be, and there's way more people here.
Yep.
So filling up a 69,000-seat stadium shouldn't really be that hard with the population now, not only in Nashville, but in the surrounding areas as well. Now, I realize a lot of people have moved here.
You want all these Californians to go to a Titans game? They're trying to watch Matt Stafford win a Super Bowl.
Well, I get it. There's a lot of people that have moved here that are not Titans fans, and I recognize that, but there's enough people here to where filling up that stadium every week should not be a problem.
Well, it's a question like how many diehard fans do you have? The Titans should not have nearly as many as, and I'm not even talking about the great franchises because those like the Steelers. There's a bandwagon for you.
Oh.
I'm not saying you're on the bandwagon, but when you're a highly successful team, the Cowboys are the ultimate. Like, why are you a Cowboys fan? I don't know. I like the star. I mean, I grew up in like Georgia, but I was
in
just love
Boise,
the Cowboys.
Idaho, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's like Glennon. I mean, this has been a great chance to rip Glennon today. Kid who lives in the D.C. area who's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah,
which I found a lot of them when I lived up there. Like, what you got Joe Theismann and John Riggins. What are we doing here? But it's just you haven't had the time to build that huge hardcore fan base. But I agree with you. Like, you should have enough for this when you have a good team, and over time you should keep building your fan base. Right? It feels like it was such a damaging period of time on this front in both on field, but then off field for a few years where a lot of people, I guess, were alienated.
There was a stretch,
for lack of a better term.
And, this is a good problem to have in some ways if you're the Titans, but when they first came here, they were awesome. And you didn't have to do any work to sell tickets because everybody wanted to be there. And that's the mindset they kept for 10 years after they sucked.
And still people talk about Jeff Fisher and Floyd Reese and how they were still out there, right? They were pounding the pavement.
They were. But, a lot of that happened before – the team actually got here and was here, and then the success on the field took care of itself. So over there in that office, 2002 rolls around, you have to do zero work to sell tickets over there. And I get it, it's the NFL. 2012 runs around, a little bit more hard, a little bit more difficult, and they didn't do a very good job of doing that. Now, to their credit, I think they've gotten a lot better in that area the last couple of years. And A.B. Adams-Strunk, to her credit specifically, I think has made that a priority, which has been good to see. But they totally ignored that part of it for the first 10, 15, 17 years of their franchise. And I think you're seeing some of that right now, trying to get it back.
So yesterday, again, we had Gil Beverly on a call, and I talked to him for the piece I wrote, but also we had Burke Nihill, president and CEO. And, they're relatively, both of them new, leadership. And they're trying to do a lot of things. I think there's some good things in the stadium, too, by the way. Some of the vendor changes, things like that. But Burke did mention yesterday, the plans are ongoing, both stadium changes, which are needed, and then, development around the stadium, too. How much difference might that make, do you think?
I think it would make a difference because I think what we see now is – part of going to a game, if you want to go now, is you want to watch the game, but to a lot of people, it's a social event too. Like that's what the Predators were really good at. Yeah, you come, you watch hockey, but how many people at a Predators game on a random Tuesday night in October are diehard hockey fans? Some, and more than it used to be, but a lot of it was, all right, that's the place to be. Let's just go to the Predators game and we can hang out there, watch hockey, have a good time. I think that's got to get better from a Titans point of view. And to that point, like T from Clarksville texts in on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It's true we're a young fan base. I'm 27, and I think I'm the first generation of Titans fans. And honestly, a lot of people my age don't want to spend $130 on a ticket to sit in Section 312. Like the availability of it's different too. Like because there's only 10 games, the ticket prices are going to be a little higher. Whereas back in the day, and this is – when the Predators were really good, not as much the case. But, back in 2012, 2013, if you wanted to go to a Predators game and you're a college student, you could get in for $15.
Right.
It's just not that way with the Titans.
Sure. And that's how it goes. I mean, success obviously brings things like that. Even so, I'm going through, this story, and I quoted not TikTok, although their TikTok, they TikTok following grew by 20,000 the day after the Julio Jones. So 20,000 more TikTok followers after Julio Jones trade the day after. But no, the ticket broker TickPick, okay? So they put this out. It was actually last month, but the Titans up 63% in ticket sales, which was tied with the Cowboys for fourth in the NFL in increase.
Okay.
Also, the average purchase price of tickets was up 77% from 2019, which is, of course, the year you have to look at, from $141.63 average to $251.18 average. But those are indicators, one, of like a better atmosphere coming.
Yep.
Also, I mean, that's also like the problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of people. And and I agree, like, I mean, look, I saw it. I've seen it with college programs too that have success. All of a sudden, we're going to add the seat licenses and all these things. And it really, and we got to really focus on the suites and the club seats. And it ends up just, to me, catering to, I understand it's a business, but there's so much more catering to rich people than the regular person, now, which is unfortunate.
We'll continue this discussion when we come back. Got a lot of your thoughts to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025, The Game. Tune in to Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds host Memphis, the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals at First Horizon Park. The pregame show with Jeff Him starts at 6:50 and first pitch is at 7:05. Nashville Sounds Baseball presented by 312 Pizza Company and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, presented by Volunteer State Bank, conveniently serving Middle Tennessee with 13 locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Talking Titans, looking ahead to what the atmosphere could be like on Sunday against the Cardinals and throughout the season as well. We got a lot of thoughts to get to on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, so let's do it. Got a texter that says, I'm a diehard Niner fan, and I've been living in Memphis for almost 10 years now. If the Lord spares, I'm definitely in that stadium on the 23rd. So the Niners coming to town this year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
In late December. Ooh. Be interesting.
Jim texting in 3 factors affecting Titans fans' attendance. Number 1, perpetual 9 and 7 teams equals moderate enthusiasm. Number 2, cost of tickets and concessions limits your overall market. And number 3, Nashville becoming such a destination city, drawing fans from visiting team to buy up loads of tickets. And that is something that you've got to deal with now that was not the case back in the day. I mean, you know, people travel to Nashville, but nowhere near the amount of people that travel to Nashville now.
Dude, it's number 1 on so many fans' lists when they look at their teams. When they look at their team's road schedule. Oh, this has got to be the place.
Well, I get it, but that's something that they've not always had to deal with. And there's no question about it. When you get these big fan bases like the Browns and the Bears and the Steelers and the Packers, there are going to be a lot of visiting fans wanting to come here.
The Eagles. Yeah, I mean, on and on. Right, and it's good from a business perspective, but from the perspective of we want to have, you know, this home field advantage like it used to be, that makes it tough. And look, because I mean, if you're a Titans fan, you can sell to one weekend and then you pay for the rest of your year. You're going to tell that person, you're going to tell that person not to do it. I mean, you can yell at them, you can tweet at them, but it's a tough sell.
It is a tough sell. Rainey texting in says, my cousin just moved here and he wants to go to his first Titans game. He looked at ticket prices and he immediately said, you have to pay that much to sit way up there? He didn't purchase any, but really wanted to go. I do think the higher prices in the upper deck turn a lot of casual fans away. This is coming from Rainey on the text line.
Yeah, and that's totally valid. It is also, like, if you compared it, and I've heard this from, you know, on the Preds front too, because obviously their ticket prices changed when they had that run, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you also, if you put it in context with the leagues, there are definitely places where it's more expensive. But I know that doesn't comfort you in your wallet, but I'm just saying, like, nothing's out of whack with the league. It's just, again, how things are today with live sports. Part of the reason that attendance is what it is.
Let's go back to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Matt texting in. Look at the Preds. If you win, fans will show. I guess my response to that is, okay, what level of winning are we talking about? Because the Titans have been winning for the last 4 or 5 years. Now, I get it. A lot of it's been 9 and 7. You had 11 and 5 a year ago. And last year's different, obviously, with COVID. And, you know, you can't draw anything away from fan attendance last year. But, you know, what sort of winning is it going to take to get this market to look like the early 2000s? Is it realistic to look like the early 2000s ever again, would be my question, just based on the way things are now.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think you can get a lot closer than you've been. So, like, if you tell me in the middle of the 2017 season, I mean, that team got to the playoffs and won a playoff game, but that team was hard to watch.
It was pretty bad.
So, and this is why, like, you know, the Cocoon 3 cast is so wrong about last year being more anticipated than this year. And this is why I think it's a good discussion right now to have, because you got confirmation last year that, like, Tannehill was the guy who came in and went on that run in 2019. You got a 2,000-yard season from Derrick Henry. You got a rookie who was good in 2019 becoming right on the cusp of great. And now you add Julio Jones. So, again, entertainment value has to be part of this too, not just how much do you win. So I think in both ways they could be great this year to watch. I mean, we'll see what the product is, but I think that's why the anticipation is what it is, because it not only could be a very successful team, but a really, really fun team to watch. There haven't been that many.
No. Well, to that point, Jacob on Periscope says this team finally has a good team and a group that is likable. They were pretty bad and pretty unlikable for a while. Hard to name someone other than CJ from about 2008 until 2016 that was a player that you wanted to watch.
Well, you get excited about Vince Young, and then you get excited about Jake Locker a little bit, and then you get excited about Mariota, right?
Well, and even look, Titans fans love Delaney Walker, and he was fun to watch, but you're talking about tight end.
Yeah. Oh, the tight end.
Right.
Now, if it's like Travis Kelce or Tony
different.
Gonzalez, then that's a little different. Kyle Pitts, maybe.
Yeah, we'll find out.
By the way, people are still saying, why don't the Titans go out and use this cap money on Delaney Walker?
I know.
They're going to have to fend off a lot of other teams who are trying to sign him.
Apparently so. Chuck texting in, I watch every game on TV, but have never had a good experience attending a Titans game. The game day experience is not worth dealing with cussing and the drunks. Certainly got to deal with a lot of people around there.
That's an interesting comment. As someone who has sat in Soldier Field, in the stands, and Ford Field in the stands, I'm trying to think of anything else recently. Nothing I can think of. I think this is, from what I can tell, you're gonna have some drunk, swearing people fighting, but this is not.
Luckily, they're not fighting lately.
The contrast, like the Midwest in particular, but I think in a lot of places you can say the same thing, between like a college crowd and an NFL crowd, I think it's pretty significant. And I would say this is as collegey and family friendly as you can probably get, from what I know. Dude, you go to a Lions Bears game at Soldier Field. I mean, you have to dodge flying fists and beer and brats, mustard, not ketchup, by the way. I see Ryan Porth in the studio, but no one would put frickin' ketchup. Then they really would get beaten down. But I mean, no,
slugged.
I mean, I really think that this atmosphere here is not nearly what it is in some places in that way.
Dennis on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Prices and fan behavior are the main reasons I don't go to more games. A lot of votes for fan behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even really thought too much about that, but I get it for some people.
Bills fans, I mean, that's why I don't go to those games.
Those Bills fans coming in here.
By the way, Kathleen on the text line says, it was easy for me to be a Titans fan because I was an Oilers fan, grew up in Houston, so I come by my disdain of the Steelers, honestly.
Disdain.
So you and Kathlina.
Kathlina,
who, is stomping on your terrible towel.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what the crowd looks like on Sunday. And to your point, Mark Howard brought this up yesterday on the show. We still are in the middle of a pandemic, and, I don't know that you can draw sweeping conclusions from what the crowd looks like now while you're in the middle of a pandemic. But as the season goes on, hopefully, as we get in a better spot with that, with this team, with what we think this offense could look like, does that translate to a sold-out crowd, and not only a sold-out crowd, but a sold-out crowd that is largely filled with Titans fans at some point this year? Going to be interesting to see.
If this is like a 9-8 or 10-7 type team and not as good as people hope, but it's a dazzling offensive display each week, how does that manifest itself in the stands? Gotta be all full throttle in all ways.
Yeah, I think so.
I still would say
it's hard for me to believe that they're going to be dazzling offensively and not be pretty good.
Well,
I know that their defense, but I mean their defense was awful last year and they went 11-5.
Yeah, that's true. But I would say at least if that was the case, I could still say to a Titans fan, see, would you prefer this or 4 years ago when they had to win 16-13 with a late Mariota drive every week?
Much prefer this. I don't think there's any question about it. When we come back, we've got some tickets to give away to see the Nashville Sounds take on Memphis. We'll do that coming up next. Also, look ahead to Week 1 of the NFL beginning tonight. The defending champs in action taking on the Cowboys. All that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in. Final segment of the day here on Robby and Rexrode, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Volunteer State Bank. Real people, real solutions. Right here. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezevic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got some tickets to give away to see the Nashville Sounds take on Memphis coming up at First Horizon Park this Sunday. Be caller number 3 at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You can win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Sounds take on Memphis coming up on Sunday at First Horizon Park. And you can also see Michelle Knezevic throw out the first pitch as well, which we're all very much looking forward to.
I got to practice.
I thought you had been.
Well, I got the baseballs and have every intention of practicing. The act of practicing hasn't actually happened yet, but it will.
I say you just wing it.
It will.
Just wing it.
You got time.
Anyway,
Yeah,
be caller
I got
number 3, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, the NFL season beginning tonight with Tampa Bay and Dallas. And you can hear that game right here on 102.5 The Game. Pre-game beginning at 6:45. So the NFL season here tonight on 102.5 The Game. Tampa Bay and Dallas. Tampa Bay, an 8.5-point favorite in this game. What are you most looking forward to in tonight's game between the Bucs and the Cowboys?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing if the Cowboys can make this competitive, and just seeing this Cowboys offense with Dak and with everyone together. I do think it could be a very good offense. It'd be great to see Dak Prescott have a healthy year. I think it was the Cleveland game last year, right, when he got hurt. I think that's right. So I'm just looking forward to an entertaining game. It could end up being a runaway for the Bucs, but maybe the Cowboys can make it a shootout and hang in there late. That's probably best case for them.
I think that is best case. I'm interested to see, I think it was a little bit of a slow start last year for Brady and the offense. You've got the whole team back. Can you pick up where you left off? Like towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, the vertical passing game was there. They could run the ball. Pretty much everything you wanted to do offensively, that team was able to do. And you look at the talent, you say, well, duh, yeah, they were able to do it. You're able to keep Chris Godwin. He's been a little banged up as of late. Can he get in there and make an impact in tonight's game? Mike Evans. But a lot of people really high on Antonio Brown coming in for the full season for the Bucs. I've seen some predictions out there that say Antonio Brown, when it's said and done, going to end up being the leading receiver for Tampa Bay this year over Godwin, over Mike Evans. I don't know if I'm quite willing to go there, but interested to see with those three as the trio at wide receiver for a full season, what does that look like? Can this Tampa Bay offense truly be an elite-level NFL offense again with Brady at 44 years old?
Well, and it is scary to think about Antonio Brown full go and somewhat like he was before all the stuff happened. It's kind of unfair, actually, if that's how it turns out.
It's been a long time ago.
Did Godwin get drafted in our league last night?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had this flash of
you about to go to the waiver wire?
Yeah, I was like, jeez, how did I miss that? But
I got Evans, so
yeah.
I know he's out there.
And Brown was drafted too. Gronk was drafted pretty high.
Was Gronk drafted higher than Ferkser?
Barely.
Ferkser went pretty high last night.
Tim in Lewisburg?
I think Tim got Ferkser.
Got right going with the Ferkser train.
Speaking of,
he's TE1.
He is TD1. Heidi from Dixon texted in on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Says, my brother drafted Ferkser as his starting tight end in round 7. How much fun of him should I make? And is Ferkser tradable, Joe? If so, what should he try to get back? I'm not good at fantasy football.
So is Heidi Tim's brother?
I don't know.
Or is Heidi Tim?
I don't know.
Tim, were you Heidi and you didn't tell us last night?
That would be absolutely hilarious.
A lot of conspiracy theories flying around here. Interesting.
Yeah,
it's a little high for Ferkser, but hey, he might be able to produce. I got to.
Ferkser's going to catch 7 passes on Sunday, 2 touchdowns.
I could see it. I have another text line, just thing to throw out real quick to the previous discussion from Dennis, and is this our Dennis?
I think so.
Dennis from the league. He said, I've literally seen grown men spit at little girls at a Titans game just for wearing the wrong jersey. That's extreme.
That's extreme.
That's a little bit. I've told the story of a child who was 8 years old at the time, wearing a Lions jersey, and fans of your team, your Packers, swearing
Look, I can't control these people.
F-bombs at a kid.
I can't control these people.
Yeah, that's again. You sit next to the wrong example of any fan base, and you can come away thinking they're awful. Now, Michelle apparently has
a lot of Steelers
done
fans,
a lot of investigating of Bills Mafia.
Yeah, a lot of investigating,
And
a
let me
lot
tell
of
ya,
table folding.
But Dennis also
Buffalo wings being eaten.
But Dennis also says Steelers fans are the worst.
Dennis, you know what?
In his experience, security at Titans games, so he's actually had to try to deal with them. I'm trying to think, the Bills have been here a few times in recent years.
Tim from Lewisburg texting in. I got Johnny Smith, guys. Tighten up. I'm not Heidi. It's confirmation Tim's not Heidi.
Oh, who got Ferkser?
I thought it was Tim. Maybe it's not.
We totally failed today not spending all 4 hours on
talking about the fantasy football league
draft. I mean, I think
great logo, by the way.
Elijah would not have missed a second of the show had we talked about our fantasy team.
By the way, it's officially football season. Tom Brady on Twitter, year 22, LFG at Buccaneers. He's come out with his own video again. So that means it's football season. Brady's coming out with videos.
How much does he love himself?
I will say, this offseason, watching Brady's personality come out a little bit, I kind of like him.
I mean, the video where he's like ripping on Vrabel was funny.
Yeah.
Someone tried to ask Vrabel the other day about that, and he was just like, focus on the season. Because I think it was...
Don't have time for Tom Brady.
Like 2 years ago, didn't he say something like, he's got those little chicken arms or something like that? He's gotten like kind of soft, or I don't know what he said. It was funny.
It was funny.
That was a good time.
Tom Brady, likable human being now.
And there's the
GOAT.
Well, there's an injured safety. As long as the GOAT
he's got a hamstring injury.
Touches him before the game.
He'll be active.
Turns his Gatorade into wine. It will be a wonderful night in Tampa Bay.
We'll see what happens tonight. We got a loaded show for you tomorrow, including Pat Narduzzi right off the bat tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Looking ahead to Pittsburgh and Tennessee, so looking forward to that. Hope you'll join us tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. Darren Donica Chase is coming up next. You're listening to ESPN 102.5 The Game. But right now, I got to tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. And NFL Week 1 is here. The fridge is stocked. The recliner is ready. Now, all you got to do is log into FanDuel Sportsbook and claim your risk-free bet. That's right. FanDuel is giving all customers a risk-free bet just in time for Week 1 of the season. Whether it's the money line, the over-under, prop bet, same-game parlay, everything is on the table starting tonight for Tampa Bay and Dallas. But any Week 1 game that you want to use, it's just one of the many reasons I love betting on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook. So if you're new, sign up today with promo code ROB to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That promo code is ROB. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.